Chapter 550. For 3 consecutive days, Guapai wantonly collected herbs on Medicine Demon Island. Of course, the other doctors weren't idle either. However, most of the herbs collected by the other doctors were taken away by the people of Medicine Demon Island. Even Daoist Bu only left behind a few herbs suitable for his own use. Kawada-kun, we can't go on like this. You have to think of a way. If we can't take these herbs away, then so be it. We have to think of a way to get out of here. A doctor said softly to Kawada Onitsugu. Kawada Onitsugu shook his head helplessly. There were some things that these doctors didn't see clearly, but he did. In these 3 days, Kawada Onitsugu had a rough idea of the situation on Medicine Demon Island. The island was about 30,000 kilometers wide, with 9 mountains and countless hills. There were tens of thousands of disciples on the island, and more than 10,000 doctors who collected herbs. However, there were doctors dying on the island every day. Those who hand in less than 3 herbs per day will be killed. Those who damage more than 3 herbs per day will be killed. Those who secretly hide a single herb will be killed. Those who fight fiercely on Medicine Demon Island will be killed. Those who don't obey the management of Medicine Demon's sect will be killed. Kawada Onitsugu muttered to himself. It was possible to stay on the island for a few days without hiding or damaging anything, but who could guarantee that one wouldn't be selfish when faced with a mountain full of heaven and earth treasures? Furthermore, if one was trapped on the island for a few years, who wouldn't be emotional? However, all these rules were messed up by Guapai. Relying on his sharp observation and perception, Guapai had already taken away nearly 10,000 heaven and earth treasures in these 3 days. During this period, he had also severely injured several groups of disciples of Medicine Demon Island. He had also refined herbs more than 100 times on the herb mountain, creating a foul atmosphere. Friend, I found this yin-yang ginseng first. What you're doing is a little too much. A middle-aged man said with a gloomy face when he saw Guapai plucking a black and white ginseng from the ground. Wu Xiu, that's right. This person in front of him was the same as him, Wu Xiu. His strength was the same as his peak Xiantian realm. Guapai had also seen this man before, but he didn't greet him. Hee brother, I don't like what you're saying. What do you mean you found it first? If you found it first, why did I take it away? Guapai said with a cheeky smile. The middle-aged man's face turned even uglier. You call that plucking? I started digging from 7 meters away to dig out this rank 2 ginseng. You plucked it out as soon as you came. You'll lose at least 3% of the medicinal efficacy of the ginseng. The middle-aged man couldn't help but say. Big bro, this ginseng was also handed over to the higher-ups. You and I are different. As compensation, I'll give this to you. My name is Guapai. Let's be friends. Guapai laughed as he tossed a medicinal pill to the middle-aged man. Brother, where did you get this pill? Are you also a medical cultivator? The moment the middle-aged man receives the elixir, he can't help but ask. Xian yi sex zhang yi cao, that makes sense. Xian yi men? Your senior medical Dr. Zhang's disciple? Guapai asked with a smile. An acquaintance, it seems that he's met an acquaintance this time. You know our Xian Yi sect? I don't know which sect this little brother belongs to. Zhang Yi Cao asked excitedly. The Xian Yi sect hasn't appeared in the world for thousands of years. Not to mention mortals, even in Wu Xiu's realm, there are very few people who know about the Xian Yi sect. He didn't expect that the young man in front of him would directly say the name of the Xian Yi sect's ancestor. Heavenly Road Sect's Guapai. I've learned some things about the Xian Yi sect from the sect's ancient records. Guapai didn't explain much. He couldn't tell you that when the Xian Yi sect was established that year, this father also brought a big gift to support them. Would you believe it if I told you? Zhang Yi Cao also didn't bother about the matter of the yin and yang 2-level ginseng. Since the 2 sects have some relationship, the 2 found a secluded place to chat. 19 years ago, our Xian Yi sect received an invitation. The sect master sent 108 Xian Yi sect disciples here, and now there are only 8 people left. The medicinal herbs on this island are indeed very tempting, but after a long time, you'll know how terrible this medicine devil island is. Zhang Yizhao said softly. Guopai nodded lightly. Zhang Yizhao and Guopai talked about medicinal herbs for a while. Suddenly, a pressure appeared in front of the two people. Guopai narrowed his eyes and stood up. Zhang Yizhao shook his head gently. The people of the medicine devil sect had come again. Brother, this person is the sect master of the medicine devil sect. I saw him once 3 years ago. At that time, 18 Peak Xiantian Wu Xiu besieged him, but he killed them all in one move. You should be careful. Zhang Yizhao said softly. Haha, Brother Zhang still remembers the matter of those years. These years, our medicine devil sect has been treating your Xian Yi sect well. We only collected half of the medicinal herbs. Could it be that Brother Zhang wants to intervene in the matter between me and this friend of mine? The speed of the black-robed man was very fast. He was originally a kilometer away from the two people, but in a blink of an eye, he had already arrived in front of the two people. Medicine devil sect's little you sex Chu Fan, you've gone too far these days. Saying that, a pressure fell on Guopai's body. Guopai couldn't help but frown. The pressure was good, but it didn't seem to be evil. It was a pure martial pressure. Too far? Compared to the medicine devil sect, it seems this little master's means are nothing. Guopai narrowed his eyes and said. The pressure on his whole body directly pushed back Chu Fan's pressure. No wonder you dare to be so presumptuous. Turns out you have some skills. Chu Fan didn't get angry and said with a smile, Our medicine devil sect doesn't want to cause trouble, and we don't want others to cause trouble in our territory. This friend has harvested a lot in the past few days. If you stop now, our medicine devil sect can open the seal on the medicine devil island and let you leave. How about it? Zhang Yizhao's eyes widened. The people of the medicine devil sect had always been arrogant, so how could they be so polite to Guopai? Just what was the background of this heavenly Dao sect's youth? If it was in the past, Guopai would definitely agree to someone's request if they were so polite to him. After all, one wouldn't slap a smiling face. Not to mention, this was their territory and the other party's strength wasn't weak. However, this medicine devil island was related to the medicine devil sect. Guopai couldn't agree to let Guopai leave. The traces of the great demon of the human realm were looming and Guopai couldn't let go of any clues. You speak as if you are from a righteous sect. Sect Master Chu, since this young master has come, it won't be easy for you to make me leave. This mountain is full of treasures. I don't know how many your medicine demon sect has collected. Shouldn't you stop first and let us have our share? Guopao laughed. Brat, you've gone too far. Die. Before Chu Fan's voice fell, a white stick appeared in his hand. Upon closer inspection, it was actually a human thigh bone. An extremely evil pressure pressed down on Guopai. I've already guessed that you're not from a righteous sect. Medicine devil sect, no matter what your relationship is with the medicine devil sect, this young master will deal with you today. Consider it the interest of the great demon for letting this young master's 100 years of peace. After saying that, a long sword appeared in Guopai's hand. He was a Peak Xiantian expert. Although Guopai had a lot of magic treasures on him, he couldn't use many of them. The two exchanged more than 100 rounds. Although they were both Peak Xiantian experts, neither of them could defeat the other. However, the mountain's medicinal herbs had suffered a calamity. Although Guopai didn't care, it didn't mean that Chu Fan didn't care. After more than a dozen rounds, Chu Fan shouted into the void, Array! 18 burly men surrounded Guopai. Guopai frowned and said, Medicine Man Array. It can directly extract the 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls of a living person and replace them with medicine spirit. Only the demon race has such a method. This young master has no choice but to take care of this medicine devil island. Chapter 551. Guapai's voice had barely faded when the 18 medicine men surrounded him. Guapai frowned. These medicine men were different from ordinary wuxio. Whether Guapai used his weapon to attack or his body to resist, these medicine men would still be injured, but it wouldn't affect their combat effectiveness. No, I must break this medicine man array, otherwise I will be exhausted to death by these medicine men. Guapao thought to himself. The sword in his hand abruptly stabbed towards the nearest herbman. Next, he quickly escaped from the encirclement and landed miserably on the top of a mountain. Boy, you ran away. As long as you are on this Medicine Devil Island, I can easily find your location. Medicine Devil Sect will give you one more day. After one day, if you don't leave Medicine Devil Island, then you will never be able to leave. Chu Fan finished speaking and disappeared from the mountain peak where he had just fought. Ahem, I didn't expect this medicine man array to be so powerful. Guapai once again returned in front of Zhang Yizhao and said in a low voice, Brother, even if it is powerful, it is not as powerful as you. You were actually able to escape from this medicine man array. It seems that I have underestimated you. Zhang Yizhao said with a smile, To be honest, I don't have the same strength as you. Otherwise, I would have also negotiated with the people of Medicine Devil Sect. As long as they allowed me to take away my things, I would have already run away. There are some things that I don't understand. It seems that I have to find some helpers in one day. Otherwise, sooner or later, I will be caught by the people of Medicine Devil Sect. Guapai said in a low voice. Standing on top of the mountain, more than 1,000 medicine men came into view, but it was not easy to find helpers. In a seemingly inconspicuous place of Medicine Devil Island, Chu Fan was kneeling in front of a stone door. After about half an hour, a woman's voice came from inside. Come in. These 3 simple words made Chu Fan's forehead ooze with cold sweat. Chu Fan did not dare to delay and directly pushed open the stone door and walked into the cave. Even though it was Chu Fan's second time entering the cave, he couldn't help but take a few deep breaths. His unstable breathing, caused by his entanglement with Guapai, instantly calmed down. After Chu Fan entered the cave, he knelt beside a couch and said softly, Master, Chu Fan has failed in his task. Please punish me. It's normal that you can't beat him, but it would be abnormal if you beat him. This isn't your fault. Get up and talk. On the bed, a beautiful lady smiled and said, The number of people who have entered the Medicine Devil Island this time is not bad. However, the number of people is still too little. The growth rate of the herbs on the Medicine Devil Island is 100 times faster than the mortal world. This kind of gathering speed is too slow. Master, it's a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner from an island country this time. If Medicine Devil Island can open its doors to Huaxia in the human world, we'll definitely gain a lot from it. Last time, when Huaxia opened its doors, almost 1,000 people from Wuxiu alone came. Before Chu Fan could finish his words, the lady stretched out her hand and 5 fingerprints appeared on Chu Fan's face. When Medicine Devil Island opened 19 years ago, many people from Huaxia did come. However, they also destroyed one of my bodies. Do you want this to happen again? Also, that kid who fought with you is from Huaxia. Can't you see his strength? The lady shouted angrily. Chu Fan lowered his head and did not dare to say another word. Chu Fan, think of a way to force that kid out of the Medicine Devil Island tomorrow. You don't have the ability to take his life. He's an interesting person. You can't take his life. The lady said softly to Chu Fan after chewing a 10,000-year-old snow ginseng. Master, there's something I don't understand. I don't know if I should ask. Chu Fan thought for a while and couldn't help but ask. I'm in a good mood today. Ask whatever you want. I promise I won't kill you. The lady said with a smile. What's the background of that kid? Why is Master so lenient with him? On Medicine Devil Island, Master only needs to use a trace of divine sense to deal with him. Why do you have to go through so much trouble? Chu Fan asked softly. Haha, who is he? He's an immortal from the heavens. He's closely related to Taishang Laojun. Haha. The lady laughed wantonly. He's that little immortal who made my 4 brothers suffer in the mortal world. What bullshit Tiandao sect master, Bugyaku's dojo master, Guapai. Haha, I can't provoke him now. I won't be like my 4 brothers and be humiliated by him. If I want to kill him, I have to do it cleanly. However, I can't do it now. Haha, but he'll die in my hands sooner or later. The lady said and disappeared from the cave, leaving behind a shocked Chu Fan. Achoo! Guapai couldn't help but sneeze. Then, he touched his nose and shook his head. Someone wants to scheme against me. Hee, things are getting more and more interesting. Guapai took Zhang Yitsao around the 9 mountains. In the end, he spent 33 pills to rope in 12 wuxiu. Although they didn't meet his requirements, he could fight Chu Fan without holding back. Little brother, let's be frank. We're old men who have lived for God knows how long. If it's just dealing with Medicine Devil Sex Chu Fan, we can help you. If that woman from Medicine Devil Island comes, we won't do anything. One of the old men whispered to Guapai. Woman? Could it be that there's a powerful woman on Medicine Devil Island? Guapai asked with a smile. It's even better. I don't know how long I have to stay here, so I can just tie her up and make her my wife. Guapai chuckled to himself. However, including Zhang Yitsao and a few people from the Xian medicine sect, Wu Xiu, and the other 12 strong helpers, none of them laughed. Guapai gently nodded. It seems that he was too careless. After a sleepless night, Guapai carefully picked several medicinal herbs that he had marked. Then, he distributed the food inside the gourd to the group of helpers. Because they had been staying on Medicine Devil Island for a long time, this breakfast made the group of people very happy. Boy, I really didn't expect that you still have the leisure to eat here. Well, today will be your last meal on Medicine Devil Island. This father will give you one more chance, leave or die. Chu Fan stood on a boulder and shouted at Guapai and the others. You with the surname Chu, isn't it a little too early for you to boast like this before we even fight? Let me see what you're capable of. With that, Guashuai leaped into the air and began fighting with Chu Fan again. Little you, be careful. Chu Fan is arranging a jeune array. I'm afraid he wants to use a jeune array to deal with you. In midair, Chu Fan's figure flashed. The old man at the foot of the mountain was right. Chu Fan was arranging a jeune array, a jeune array. Jeune array was not difficult. When one's strength reached the Xiantian realm, one could easily arrange a jeune array with the help of some small things. Chu Fan understood jeune array, but Guapai understood even more. Guapai smiled and nodded to the old man at the foot of the mountain. When Chu Fan had just started arranging the jeune array, Guapai had already come up with a countermeasure in his heart. However, Chu Fan didn't know that this boy in front of him was much stronger than him in the field of jeune array. Boy, it's too late. This father won't kill you this time. Get the hell out of Medicine Devil Island. Chu Fan said, and Guapai directly disappeared in midair. The several old men at the foot of the mountain couldn't help but shake their heads. Compared to Chu Fan, Guapai was too inexperienced. Now, before the group of people could make a move, Guapai had already been sent to some unknown place by Chu Fan's jeune array. It's done. In a while, I can report to my master. Chu Fan took a deep breath and said softly, Master? So you, the dignified master of Medicine Devil Sect, are just a lackey of Medicine Devil Island. I've already tried your jeune array, you should also try my jeune array. As soon as his voice fell, Chu Fan's complexion suddenly changed. He could clearly feel the changes in the space around him. If no one interrupted Guapai's jeune array, he didn't know where he would be sent to. Little brother, you've gone too far. Chapter 552. Little brother? I don't like to hear these words. How do you know that this young master is a little brother if you haven't seen it? Guopai's array formation was interrupted by the woman's words. Guopai responded in an extremely filthy manner. At the same time, he also fell from the air and steadily landed on the top of the mountain. Then, he saw a black-clothed woman floating in the air. Little brother, the witch of Medicine Devil Island has come. You deal with this matter yourself. We can't intervene. The old man who spoke to Guopai a moment ago looked at the woman in the air. His figure flashed and disappeared. Then, the 11 people behind the old man also disappeared. Zhang Yizhao helplessly shook his head. After apologizing to Guopai, he also left with the people of Xian Medicine Sect. Guopai looked at the group of people leaving. His brows couldn't help but wrinkle. His gaze once again fell on the woman in the air. Little brother, are you going to fight with this sister or leave by yourself? This sister has already done her best for you. Don't tell me you still want to continue tormenting me? The woman smiled and said to Guopai, Hee, if you don't torment me, how do you know that you can't do it? Medicine Devil Island's woman, a woman who even Wu Xiu of Medicine Devil Island is afraid of. I'd like to see what kind of ability you have. Guopai said. An exquisite compass appeared in his hand. Although his strength was only at the peak of Xiantian, the compass had already recognized him as its master. This was the strongest magic weapon that Guopai could use right now. Acting recklessly. Even if you are Taishang Laojuan's man, you still have to kneel in front of me, Yu. Since you don't want to leave, then don't leave. I'd like to see who in the heavenly court dares to come to my Medicine Devil Island to save you. The woman shouted at Guopai. Then, a long whip appeared in her hand and she ferociously lashed at Guopai. Yu? How is that possible? You said you are Yu. Could it be that the heavenly book records are wrong and Medicine Devil is a woman? As Guopai spoke, the compass in his hand directly met the whip. With a bang, Guopai retreated more than 10 steps and stood in place. Brat, you know quite a lot. Since you know I'm Shuiyu, I'll give you one more chance. Get out of Medicine Devil Mountain. Shuiyu said loudly. However, even if you are Shuiyu, I am still prepared to fight for a mountain full of medicinal herbs. I am at the peak of the Xiantian realm. It seems Great Demon Shuiyu is also at the peak of the Xiantian realm. If we really fight, I won't lose out, Guopai said with a smile. Shuiyu's face immediately changed. You're courting death. Today, I'll let you know the difference between 2 Xiantian realms. Yu roared. Then, a powerful coercion fell on Guopai's body. Guopai could clearly feel that this coercion had completely surpassed the Xiantian realm. This time, he was in big trouble. Are you going to leave or not? Shuiyu's aura rose again. However, she still didn't kill Guopai. Although Guopai was completely suppressed by her coercion, he could still move. Guopai leisurely threw out 9 jade cores around him and roared. Break! Shuiyu frowned when she heard Guopai's break. Because Guopai had already disappeared, leaving behind a sentence for her, Shuiyu, I thank you for showing mercy. If you can find me again, I will leave Medicine Devil Island, haha. Brat, as long as you are on Medicine Devil Island, you can forget about escaping from my grasp. Shuiyu looked at Guopai's disappearing figure and couldn't help but shout. However, Guopai's aura had indeed disappeared without a trace. Yizhao, who won the battle just now? Several spectators who were hiding a kilometer away asked softly. Bro Scoundrel didn't lose. Demon Lady didn't win. However, Bro Scoundrel is probably no match for Demon Lady. That's why he went into hiding, Zhang Yizhao said softly. Everyone nodded. Let's go. If we meet Bro Scoundrel again, we'll ask him. Demon Lady must be in a bad mood recently. We should be careful. After chatting for a while, they returned to their respective territories. However, even if they didn't say anything, news of the battle between Guopai and Shuiyu had already spread among Wu Xiu of Medicine Devil Island. Medicine Devil Island had even issued a bounty. Anyone who could provide information on Guapai would be rewarded with 100 heaven-grade medicinal herbs. For a time, be it Wu Xiu or ordinary mortals, people were searching for Guapai everywhere. Motherf *Ker, it's actually the legendary Medicine Devil. His body doesn't seem to have been destroyed. He's actually hiding in such a place. However, who set up this array formation? And this mountain full of medicinal herbs? Could it be that every medicinal herb has an array formation? Moreover, Shuiyu can sense the situation of each medicinal herb. Guapai was at the bottom of a mountain. He had dug out a space that wasn't small and was chewing on a lingji mushroom. 3 days. During these 3 days, Shuiyu had been paying attention to the changes in Medicine Devil Island. However, there was no news of Guapai. Chu Fan, go and find him. Send people to search every mountain peak. Don't let anyone escape. It's better to catch the wrong person than to let anyone escape. If Wu Xiu dares to resist, it's fine as long as he doesn't die. After Shuiyu finished speaking, Chu Fan cautiously left the cave. During the next 7 days, many small-scale fights occurred throughout Medicine Devil Island. Many people were taken to Medicine Devil sect, but they were all released later. Guapai was still not found. In fact, after staying at the bottom of the mountain for 1 day, Guapai came out on the 2nd day. Coincidentally, just as Guapai came out from the bottom of the mountain, he happened to encounter a doctor who had slipped and fallen down the mountain. Guapai used a special method to change his appearance to that of the doctor, deceiving a group of people who were searching for him. After a week of fruitless searching, Shuiyu surprisingly didn't lose her temper. Chu Fan knelt on the ground and asked in a low voice, "Master, is it possible that the brat has already broken the array formation and escaped?" "Impossible. How could a banished immortal from the heavenly court do such a thing? He must have used an appearance-changing technique. My whereabouts have already been discovered by this person. Some plans must be changed," Shuiyu said with narrowed eyes. For an entire month, Guapai didn't pick any herbs. However, he had an even bigger harvest. He had already figured out the relationship between the herbs on the mountain and Shuiyu. Amazing, truly amazing. However, this method is definitely not something that the current Shuiyu can come up with. If I break this array formation, I wonder what kind of expression Great Demon Shuiyu will have. Haha, Guapai said with a laugh at the bottom of the mountain. Sigh, I wonder how Little Bad is doing now. Taoist Bu Er couldn't help but whisper as he picked a 7-star purple moon orchid. Haha, I see that the old man has gained quite a lot recently. It turns out he is still concerned about this brat's life and death. A middle-aged man, not far from Taoist Bu Er, said with a smile. Taoist Bu Er opened his eyes wide and laughed. It was good that nothing happened. Don't come over. There are several disciples of the Medicine Devil sect watching you from the hillside. You entered the Medicine Devil Island with me. They have been watching you for a month. Guapau's subordinates didn't stay idle and transmitted a message to Taoist Bu Er. Taoist Bu Er naturally understood what he meant. He walked towards the fire ginseng opposite from Guapai and began to focus on dealing with the fire ginseng. There is something I need the old man's help with. Guapai sent a voice transmission to Taoist Bu Er. If there is anything, just say it. However, everyone on Medicine Demon Island is looking for you. You must be careful. Taoist Bu Er replied. After 3 days, all the herbs on this mountain can be harvested by anyone, especially Wu Xiu who has a storage treasure. They don't need to worry about the people from Medicine Demon sect finding them because they won't be able to sense how many herbs you have harvested. Guapai said with a smile. A piece of deer bone in Taoist Bu Er's hand fell to the ground. How could this be? In more than a month, Taoist Bu Er had already figured out the situation on Medicine Demon Island. No matter how many herbs they harvested, the people from Medicine Demon sect would know it clearly. Now, Guapai actually told him that he didn't need to worry about Medicine Demon sect anymore. Spread the news. After 3 days, you will know whether I am telling the truth or not. Haha, old man, others might not believe it, but you don't? Don't miss this opportunity. Chapter 553. Guapai said a few more words to Daoist Bu-Er, and then turned around to leave. Daoist Bu-Er's mouth revealed a trace of an evil smile. If Guapai were to see this, he would definitely be shocked. Such an old man was actually smiling so wickedly. Master, there is something I don't know if I should say or not. The day after Guapai told Daoist Bu-Er that he was going to break the formation, no one knew what method Daoist Bu-Er used to gather herbs on the mountain. Whether it was ordinary doctors or Wu Xiu, everyone knew that after 2 days, the herbs on the mountain could be gathered as they wished. When Chu Fan heard the report from his subordinates, he suddenly felt a headache coming. If such a thing was true, then they would be in big trouble. I already know, don't worry. This rumor was spread by that smelly brat. I don't believe that he has such ability. If he can really break the formation that I laid down that year, then I won't need to give face to those people from the heavenly court. That smelly brat is dead. Yu said in a soft voice. However, in the next 2 days, Yu wasn't as calm as before. She changed her clothes and appeared on the island where Guapai said he was going to break the formation. She tightly held a bead in her hand and frowned. However, she couldn't find any clues. Chu Fan also didn't dare to ask and stood obediently beside Yu. It's the 3rd day. Daoist Bu-Er whispered under the moonlight. The mountain that was supposed to be quiet suddenly became lively. Several doctors who were gathering herbs were directly beheaded by the people of Medicine Demon sect. They thought that this would deter the other people on the mountain, but it wasn't the case. The people of Medicine Demon sect directly killed those 2 doctors. They are killing the chicken to warn the monkey. The rumor should be true. The people of Medicine Demon sect have lost control of this mountain. Haha, our chance has come. No one knew who shouted, but then many people began to disperse and concentrate on gathering herbs. When they saw the people of Medicine Demon sect, they would give the herbs to them. They couldn't just casually kill people. Almost an hour later, Yu and Chu Fan's complexion became unsightly. This was because not only the original people of this mountain began to gather herbs, but people from other mountains also heard the news and came to this mountain one after another. Master, could it be that the protective mountain array has been broken by that brat? Chu Fan asked softly. No. I can sense that these people have picked up some medicinal herbs. However, I can't do anything right now. Once I do, that stinking brat definitely won't come out. It's good that these people are so enthusiastic right now. Tomorrow, I'll make whoever takes this old lady's stuff have to return it to this old lady, Yu said, gritting her teeth. At this moment, Guapai was doing the same as the others. He quickly gathered various medicinal ingredients and buried the jade cores in extremely hidden places. Occasionally, he would look at Shuiyu in the distance. The sky gradually brightened. More and more people gathered on the mountain. Shuiyu's expression became increasingly ugly. Hee, now is the time. Medicine Demon Shuiyu, I have offended all 5 great demons. If I cannot return to the heavenly realm, my days in the human world will not be too comfortable. Guapai thought to himself. The 7-star compass reappeared in his hand. Next, the 108 jade cores buried on the mountain disappeared in an instant. The energy of the jade cores directly broke the protective array of the entire mountain. The connection between the medicinal herbs and the medicine demon's divine sense was suddenly severed. At the same time, the instant Guapai activated the jade cores to destroy the array of the entire mountain, Shuiyu's eyes widened. She then flew towards Guapai. Stinking brat, I originally didn't want to kill you. I didn't want to offend a group of heavenly court fellows. You forced me to do this. Die. Shuiyu roared loudly. Wu Xiu on the mountain stopped what they were doing. Some of the doctors were bleeding from their 7 orifices due to Shui Yu's sudden burst of pressure. They lost all signs of life. Powerful. However, you are only at the peak of the Xiantian realm. It won't be that easy to kill this young master. Guo Pai said. He took out the 7-star compass and fought with Shui Yu in midair. This time, you won't have the chance to escape. You broke the array of my Gen Demon Mountain. I will make you beg for death. Shui Yu said. When Guo Pai heard the words Gen Demon Mountain, he immediately understood the layout of the Medicine Demon Island. Powerful. The Medicine Demon was indeed powerful. He actually used the 5 elements and 8 trigrams to forcibly increase the quality of the medicinal herbs on the Medicine Demon Island. However, because Guo Pai broke the array of the mountain, the entire array was not as smooth as before. No wonder Shui Yu was so angry. Guo Pai stood in midair. The long whip in Shui Yu's hand was entangled with his 7-star compass. For the time being, they were evenly matched. However, Guo Pai had a bad premonition in his heart. Before Guo Pai could react, all the medicinal herbs that were over 10,000 years old suddenly left the ground and surrounded Guo Pai. This is the myriad medicine god sealing array. How is this possible? You are a great demon. How can you make all the medicinal herbs on the mountain listen to your arrangements and use up 10,000 years of cultivation to form this myriad medicine god sealing array? Guo Pai couldn't help but ask loudly. Brat, so you also know fear. Haha, so what if I am a great demon? Back then, my 4 brothers were all sealed. Why did the heavenly court only let me go? Myriad medicine god sealing array. Yes, it is the myriad medicine god sealing array. I didn't expect a little banished immortal like you to know so much. Shui Yu stood to the side and laughed as she looked at the exhausted Guo Pai. The heavenly court let you go? Did you have an affair with that old geezer Jade Emperor? Haha, that should be the case. However, that old geezer Jade Emperor later abandoned you. Thus, you can only live an ignoble existence on this demon medicine island, Guo Pai said loudly. You are still so stubborn even in the face of death. You have quite a lot of good items on you. I will take you as compensation for breaking my array. Shui Yu was not angry. She watched as the tens of thousands of medicinal herbs surrounded Guo Pai even tighter. I have only seen this myriad medicine god sealing array in the heavenly book. This is really troublesome. Guo Pai looked at the dense mass of top-grade spirit herbs and couldn't help but think to himself. If it was in the past, he would have already collected all these spirit herbs in front of him. But now, these spirit herbs had formed a huge array and Guo Pai couldn't do anything about it. Chu Fan, let the people of Demon Medicine Sect go down and collect the herbs. Take out all the herbs from everyone on the mountain. Give them back to me the same way they took my things. If anyone dares to cheat, kill them directly. After today, Demon Medicine Island won't need to raise so many useless people anymore. Shui Yu narrowed her eyes and said. As the people of Demon Medicine Sect went down to collect the herbs, chaos broke out on the mountain. However, after the people of Demon Medicine Sect killed more than a dozen powerful Wu Xiu, the others obediently took out the herbs. Smelly brat, don't waste your strength. Although I can't operate this myriad medicine god sealing array, it is more than enough to deal with a peak Xiantian brat like you. Shui Yu proudly said, turning a banished immortal into a medicine man. Just thinking about it makes me happy. After I turn you into a medicine man, I will take you to see my 4 brothers. At that time, I won't have the final say on how they will deal with you. Haha, it will be very interesting to see the 4 of them deal with you. Guo Pai was trapped in the array. As the space around him became smaller and smaller, Guo Pai couldn't help but shake his head. This time, he might really die. However, after half an hour, the space around him no longer changed. Guo Pai took out hundreds of flying swords to stabilize the space. At this time, Guo Pai finally got a chance to catch his breath. This myriad medicine god sealing array, It seems like it won't take my life, Guo Pai said in a soft voice. Then, he heard Shui Yu's voice. Brat, why are you so anxious? The myriad medicine god's sealing array has just begun. Some things need to be done slowly. Just stay in the array. After 49 days, there will be a surprise waiting for you. Haha. Chapter 554. He was trapped. This time, he was completely trapped. Although the god's drug sealing formation didn't continue to pressure Guo Pai still couldn't find any clues to deal with the formation after trying nearly 100 methods. Time passed day by day. The sky above Medicine Devil Peak was covered in black medicinal herbs. Now Wu Xiu already knew what was going on. No one dared to do anything. Bugyaku, Imperial Capital. On the 7th day after Guo Pai was trapped in the god's drug-sealing formation, Yu had nothing to do and did a divination. It wasn't a big deal, but after the divination, Yu was scared out of her wits. The stars were messed up and her life was in danger. Brother Yao, isn't bad guy with you? Yu called Guo Pai and asked softly. Ahem, sister-in-law, he isn't. We met Taoist Buer in Japan. Fourth brother should have told you. He's the old man we met when we went to Shushan. He's Yun Er's master. The two of them are participating in some Chinese medicine event in Japan. I can't contact them either, Li Yao said softly. Chinese medicine event? We haven't had enough trouble in China. Why are we going to Japan? Aren't we going to check on the medicine island? Is this Chinese medicine event related to the medicine island? Yu thought for a while and dialed Jia Yuan's number. Brother Yuan, help me book 3 tickets to Japan. Quickly. Also, give me the information about Laxel who didn't complete the deal with Bad Guy. Something happened to Bad Guy in Japan, Yu said softly. Ahem, sister-in-law, don't worry. Don't scare me. You know fourth brother's strength better than I do. Even Hua Xia can't beat him. What could happen in Japan? Jia Yuan said doubtfully, but he still hurriedly booked a flight to Japan the next morning according to Yu's instructions. Not 3 tickets but 4. Third prince, this is no small matter. Let me, Uncle Shui and Uncle Feng go and take a look. If the 3 of us can't handle it, it'll be pointless for you to go. Yu smiled and said to Xian Yuan how. She then got into Jia Yuan's car and sped towards the airport with Shui Yunzi and Ao Lai. Girl, with little bad strength, it shouldn't be a problem. It's just a trip to a small island. Do we need to go there? Shu Yunzi asked with a smile. In the past few years in the human world, Shu Yunzi had been living a comfortable life. Every day, he would discuss Taoism with Li Shixin, Qiu Daoyuan, and the others. When he was bored, he would call Ao Feng and fly into the clouds to fight. When he was even more bored, he had a genius girl like Meng Meng to entertain him. He didn't really mind going to Japan. Back then, the great demon was much stronger than Big Brother Bad Guy, but in the end, didn't he still fall? Last night, when I looked at the sky, it was a mess. It's a bad omen. It's better to look for him. Yu didn't explain much. When the 3 of them got on the plane, they saw Jia Yuan appear in front of them with a smile. Brother Yuan, what's the meaning of this? We're going to do something serious this time. Don't tell me you're also going to be involved in this matter, Yu asked with a dark expression. Hee, I'm not going to be involved in your business. I'm going to look for Brother Yao. Brother Yao is in Japan. You guys go ahead with your business. We definitely won't be a hindrance. In addition, when you arrive in Japan, you'll need a translator. I'll be your translator, Jia Yuan said with a smile. Since they had already boarded the plane, Yu couldn't say anything. When the 4 of them got off the plane, Li Yao was already waiting for them at the airport. Then, the 4 of them got into Li Yao's car and sped to an abandoned factory in Japan. Sister-in-law, I've found Laxel. As for fourth brother, you should ask him yourself. After entering the building, Li Yao pulled out Laxel, who had been tossed around until he didn't look like a human anymore. I want to know everything about your last transaction. If you know where the treasures are, tell me honestly. You can also choose not to tell me. I can still get the information I want, Eur said to Laxel in fluent English. Girl, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm very grateful to the big guy for saving me from the Japanese, but I don't King know what you're asking. I did make a deal with the Japanese, but I didn't get anything. The treasures are in the USB flash drive. I don't know the specific location, Laxel said loudly. I don't like your attitude. Since you don't want to tell me, I'll look for it myself. With that, Eur narrowed her eyes and Laxel completely lost his mind. Almost a moment later, Laxel's pupils widened and he couldn't be more dead. The location is very vague. We need to go to Mount Fuji. I hope Brother Bad Guy can hold on. With that, Eur said a few words to Li Yao and Jia Yuan. Then, she disappeared with Shui Yunzi and Ao Feng. Brother Yao, do you think something really happened to fourth brother? Jia Yuan asked softly. Li Yao shook his head. Although Guopai was fine now, it didn't mean that he would always be fine. In the God-sealing elixir formation, Guopai was looking for a way to break the formation day and night. However, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't find the location of the formation eye. If he couldn't find the location of the formation eye, he couldn't break the formation. It's impossible. I divined before coming here. This trip to Japan was daunting but not dangerous. How could I be trapped here? Guopai said to himself. Then, he entered a meditative state. At this time, Eur and the two super fighters had appeared in the open sea. However, it wasn't easy to find vague coordinates in the vast sea. After 7 days at sea, Eur was a bit anxious. Uncle Shui, this is the sea. Can you sense the movements on the water for the past half a month? Eur asked Shui Yunzi softly. I'll give it a try. Things are different now. If I use the strength I had back then, not to mention half a month, even if it's 1,000 years, the old man will be able to clearly find out what's going on in the water. Shui Yunzi said and then dived into the water. I'll also go to the bottom of the sea. Maybe I can find something. With that, Ao Feng also jumped into the sea. Of course, Guopai, who was playing with the good and evil steel, didn't know that Eur was looking for him on the sea. Good and evil steel. Good and evil will be repaid. If I die and this steel falls into the hands of the great demon, it will be troublesome. Guopai said softly as he played with the steel. Suddenly, he heard a woman's voice coming from Laojuan's gourd. Guopai was shocked. Then, he sent a trace of his divine sense into Laojuan's gourd. Little Yun, stay in the gourd. I can't even protect myself right now. If I can escape this calamity, I will definitely help you find a body and find a good home for your soul. Guopai said through voice transmission. Big brother, can you let me see the steel? A few days ago, when I felt the steel enter the gourd, there was a strong attractive force that seemed to be summoning me. Can I see the steel? Little Yun was a girl who died unjustly in Yunshi County. Eur used the sky-stealing sun-swapping technique to put her into Laojuan's gourd. After a few years, she had made some progress in Wuxiu. Oh, could it be that you have some fate with this steel? Take a good look. If there's anything you don't understand, you can find me. I'm not afraid to tell you that this steel is a treasure. It depends on your luck. With that, Guopai threw the good and evil steel into the gourd again. Of course, this time, he threw it directly to Little Yun. After seeing the steel, Little Yun directly sat down cross-legged and didn't say anything. There are still 7 days. If I can't find a way to break this God-sealing array, I'm afraid my life will really end here. As the days passed, Guopai couldn't help but think to himself. Eur, the place where the last huge fluctuation occurred, is just ahead. Let's go and take a look. After Shui Yunzi finished speaking, the 3 figures had already floated on the sea for more than 40 days. They were flying towards Medicine Devil Island. Chapter 555. 3 days later, Yu-Er's group of 3 stopped at the place where Medicine Devil Island was last seen. Shui Yunzi and Ao Feng nodded. This was indeed the place, but there was a formation set up here. If they wanted to find Medicine Devil Island, they had to break the formation first. Girl, we'll have to rely on you to break the formation, Shui Yunzi said with a smile. Yu-Er nodded and a compass appeared in her hand. Guopai and Yu-Er had discussed a lot about formations in recent years. This spatial formation was not a big problem for Yu-Er. Ba, may I know what you're here for? Just as Yu-Er was about to break the formation, a man's voice came from 1,000 meters away. In a few breaths of time, a handsome monk appeared in front of them. Yu-Er is from the Buddhist sect. She's in the gold core realm. She's not weak, but she shouldn't be an enemy, Shui Yunzi said softly. 100,000 years ago, the Buddhist sect was also good at dealing with great demons. I'm Yu-Er. I'm here to find my husband. If this is the Buddhist sect of the holy monk, I'll have to trouble the holy monk to let us in. Can you tell me your Dharma name? Yu-Er said softly. She didn't want to have a conflict with anyone. Saving Guopai was the most important thing right now. Miss, you shouldn't be here. Please go back. My Dharma name is Mingyu. The monk held the prayer beads in his hand and said softly. Mingyu? You're the reincarnation of ancient Buddha Mingyu? Shui Yunzi asked with narrowed eyes. Ao Feng also frowned. Mr. Shui is right. It's rare for Mr. Shui to still remember me after so many years. You should be a friend of the dragon race. Mingyu nodded and said softly. The great demon sect's 5 sons. The 4th son was sealed. Legend has it that ancient Buddha Mingyu saved Medicine Devil Shuiyu. Later, the 2 of them disappeared and the Buddhist sect expelled Mingyu. Is this true? Ao Feng asked softly. It doesn't matter if it's true or false. Mingyu saved Shuiyu back then just to repay her. The world doesn't understand, the Buddhist sect doesn't. Mingyu will understand. Mingyu said softly. Ancient Buddha Mingyu, no matter what your relationship with Shuiyu is, I have to do this. Just like you said, everything has a cause and effect. Today, I'm going to save my husband. Bang. Mingyu. Ming. 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 Mingyu. Mingyu, you're meddling too much. No matter if you're a reincarnated ancient Buddha or Mingyu's true body, since we're all in the human world now, there are some things we should do and some things we shouldn't. We're here to save someone. I don't know why you're stopping us. Is it related to Great Demon Shuiyu? Shui Yunzi waved his sleeve and the compass and Buddhist beads fell into his hand. There's no harm in telling you. This is Shuiyu's dojo. It's also Mingyu's dojo. If the person you want to save intrudes into Mingyu's dojo, then he deserves to die. Mingyu looked at the 3 and said, Unreasonable stinky monk. Are you trying to protect Mingyu because he's a woman? Or is it because you're a Buddhist who wants to be gay? Yu-Er couldn't help but curse loudly. The dagger in her hand appeared and stabbed towards Mingyu. Mingyu looked at Yu-Er flying towards her. Her figure flashed unhurriedly, and she directly dodged Yu-Er's attack. Ba, you've broken the precept of anger. Girl, you might have guessed correctly. 100,000 years ago, no one knew whether Mingyu was a man or a woman. You've broken the precept of anger. When did Mingyu break the precept of lust? Ao Feng and I will block Mingyu. You go save the person, Shui Yunzi said loudly. Yu-Er nodded and took out the compass again. Since you've forced my hand, don't blame me for being impolite. Buddhist 8 treasures, set up the formation. As Mingyu spoke, she took out the wheel, conch, umbrella, lid, flower, jar, fish, and long magic tools at the same time and directly surrounded Shui Yunzi and Ao Feng. Mingyu's true body stood in front of Yu-Er. Mingyu only wants medicine. Benefactor, please go back, Mingyu said softly. Save my husband and we'll naturally leave. I don't care if you're Mingyu ancient Buddha or a perverted monk who fell in love with a great demon. You have your protection and I have my husband. Since you insist on stopping then won't be polite. As she spoke, Er's entire body released pressure. The Jindan in her dantian vaguely turned into a human form. Peak Jindan, false soul realm. Didn't make a move. When she did, she was at the strongest state she could display in the mortal world. Ba. Mingyu shook her head. Her entire body shone with golden light. Her ancient Buddha golden body was also the strongest power she could display in the mortal world. Mingyu is fighting with someone outside. Mingyu actually used her ancient Buddha golden body. It seems the people of the heavenly court already know that I've trapped this brat. Mingyu, who was staying on Medicine Devil Island, said to herself when Mingyu used her ancient Buddha golden body. Er's wife is here. He should be saved now. When reached the false soul realm, Guopai also felt Er's aura. However, his face turned ugly. Normally, the space formation of Medicine Devil Island wouldn't be a problem for Eur. However, Eur used her false soul realm. It seemed that she was in trouble outside. 3 days. Eur fought with Mingyu on the sea for 3 whole days. Eur was good at attacking, while Mingyu was good at defending. Neither of them had the upper hand. During these 3 days, the most aggrieved ones were Shui Yunzi and Ao Feng. Under the suppression of the 8 treasures of Buddhism, the 2 of them were actually trapped. Shui Yunzi wanted to break the rules of the mortal world several times to raise his realm, but he was stopped by Ao Feng. Just like that, the 2 of them were trapped in the 8 treasures, unable to help Eur deal with Mingyu. After rescuing Little Bad, this old man must ask for a few handy magic treasures from him. It would be best if it was the Een Wind flag from before the Great Demon Era. It would definitely be useful to deal with this stinky monk's 8 treasures. Shui Yunzi couldn't help but say loudly. Ao Feng nodded repeatedly. Although he had a magic treasure of the Dragon Clan, it was completely suppressed by the 8 treasures of Buddhism. Stinky brat, there's still 1 more day. If the people outside can't come in and save you, you're dead. Shui Yu appeared outside the God-sealing elixir formation and smiled at Guopai. Actually, even if they come in, they may not be able to save you. Brat, you brought this upon yourself. Guopai didn't say much. At this point, it was useless to say more. He had even prepared for the worst. If the God-sealing elixir formation used a killing move, he would just kill himself. He had the Laojun gourd on him, so he definitely wouldn't die. However, it was hard to say what would happen in the future. Monk, get out of the way. The longer she fought with Mingyu, the more anxious Eur became. She could feel that Guopai was in great danger, but she really couldn't defeat the monk in front of her. Ba. Benefactress, I'm afraid the person you're looking for is already dead. Please go back, Mingyu said with neither joy nor anger. If he dies, I'll bury all the Buddhist disciples in the world with him. It doesn't matter if you're from the Buddhist sect or not. This debt will be on your head, Mingyu, Eur said fiercely. Mingyu gently shook her head, but didn't have the slightest intention of moving away. Stinky brat, there's still half an hour before the God-sealing elixir formation turns into the God-sealing elixir formation. Enjoy it. Shui Yu said to Guopai with a smile, as she looked at the black mass of medicinal herbs. I've been playing with formations for tens of thousands of years. I didn't expect to die in the end. The cycle of cause and effect. This is karma. Guopai couldn't help but sigh. Just as Guopai lost all hope, a figure suddenly flashed out of the Laojun gourd. Guopai's eyes widened. Good will be rewarded with good, and evil will be punished with evil. It's not that there's no karma, it's just not time yet. Good and evil will be rewarded. Open. Chapter 556. Following the word, Guopai did not have the time to react to who had come out from the gourd. Instead, he clearly sensed that the 100 medicinal herbs in the gen position of the Godseal array had suddenly lost their life force. Ha ha ha. This young master's life is not meant to end. Break. Guopai roared and charged out of the Godseal array. The moment he charged out of the array, Guopai waved his hand and the 100 medicinal herbs were sucked into the gourd. Who ruined my plans? Little girl, who are you? Stinking brat, if you dare take another medicinal herb, I will take your life. Xian Yu said furiously. Guopao also saw who the person who saved him was. It was none other than Little Yun, the vengeful spirit that he had saved back then. He did not expect this little girl to have comprehended the immortal technique on the good and evil steel. Guopao's eyes widened. So many medicinal herbs have trapped this young master for so long. This young master will definitely not just take one. 7-colored snow ginseng, 9-petal lotus, 10,000-year-old dragonbone grass, heavenly phoenix flame dragon flower. Ha ha ha. This young master will be taking these first. After saying that, Guopai's figure flashed through the pile of medicinal herbs. There was no telling just how many top-grade medicinal herbs were sucked into the gourd by Guopai. Seeing that, Xian Yu's face became even more unsightly. Take it, take it. Dead people can't bring anything out anyways. And you, bitch, you are the one who broke this young master's array. You will die first. After saying that, Xian Yu did not attack Guopai. Instead, she flew towards Little Yun. Little Yun, be careful. Hurry up and enter the gourd. Guopai shouted at Little Yun. However, it was too late. Little Yun did not have a fleshly body. Guopai could sense that the magic artifact in Xian Yu's hand was a fatal threat to souls. Die! Xian Yu roared and a scarlet-red bead in her hand flew towards Little Yun. I have no enmity with you. Yet, you are harboring evil thoughts. Good and evil will be repaid. Little Yun watched the bead flying towards her and said softly. Next, the good and evil steel appeared in her hand to block the bead. Bam! The bead struck the good and evil steel. Little Yun no longer had any life force and she was sucked into the gourd. However, Xian Yu was not much better. When the scarlet-red bead struck the good and evil steel, Xian Yu. Chu Fan, activate the 9 Heavens Medicine Fiend array and kill this brat. Kill him at all costs. Shui Yu shouted at Chu Fan. Chu Fan nodded solemnly. Then, the 36 black-clothed men behind him quickly ran up the 9 mountains. No wonder the great medicine demon would choose to stay on this medicine demon island and not come out. To think that he would be able to open up the 9 Heavens Medicine Demon array by collecting so many herbs. However, yours truly will not give you any more chances. Go to hell. As Guopao spoke, 9 flying swords appeared in his hands as he flew towards the 9 mountains. Brat, I swear in the name of the great demon that I will kill you today. Xian Yu said furiously. Suddenly, the sky above Medicine Demon Island darkened. Ah, you, don't open the 9 Heavens Medicine Demon array. The 4 of us have been sealed. We don't want to see our only sister die before us. Leave Medicine Demon Island and let this brat live for a few more days. A deep voice rang out above Medicine Demon Island. Yu bit her lips and clasped her hands together. A beam of light appeared at the top of the 9 mountains of Medicine Devil Island at the same time, illuminating the entire island. Yu flew higher and higher. Countless medicinal herbs followed her into the sky. Suddenly, the medicinal herbs and Yu disappeared. Brat, I'll let you live for a few more days. Just you wait. Today's matter is not over. Xian Yu's voice rang out above Medicine Demon Island. When Guopai could no longer sense Xian Yu's aura, he landed on the ground and gasped for breath. Ah, you! Bright Moon Ancient Buddha, who was fighting with Yu couldn't help but shout when Xian Yu disappeared. Then, his golden body disappeared and Bright Moon flew into the sky. Female benefactor, stop. You won. Bright Moon Ancient Buddha took back the 8 treasures of Buddhism and shook his head helplessly. Yu closed her eyes. After about a minute, she opened her eyes with a smile. Guopai was fine. Ba. I didn't expect your husband to have the good and evil steel. Ayu's defeat was justified. Bright Moon said softly, I thought I could keep you company in this secluded place, but I was wrong. Devils have their devil Tao, Buddhas have their Buddha Tao. I was wrong. Perhaps Dipamkara was right. 100 reincarnations can't change a great devil. I don't care about the matters of the human world anymore. Bright Moon flew toward the heavenly palace, ascending on the spot without attracting heavenly thunder. No wonder old Ao and I were surrounded by the 8 treasures of Buddhism. We didn't lose unjustly this time. If I can return to the heavenly realm, I'll definitely find Bright Moon Ancient Buddha to fight again. Shui Yunzi said softly. Let me find Brother Bad Guy first. Yu nodded gently. She took out a compass and threw 9 jade cores into the void. After a while, an island slowly rose from the bottom of the sea. Medicine Demon Island once again emerged from the sea. You two go in. I won't be going in. The magic arrays on this island are a little strange. I can sense it. If I enter the island, I will likely be forced back to my original state, Ao Feng said with a smile. Yu and Shui Yunzi nodded and the two of them flew into Medicine Devil Island. Heavens, the rumors from back then were true. This is Medicine Demon Island. Only Medicine Demon Su Yu has such means to make all the herbs grow 100 times. Amazing! Shui Yunzi exclaimed. Brother Bad Guy is over there. Let's go take a look. With that, Yu flew towards Guapai. After entering Medicine Demon Island, Yu and Shui Yunzi were the same as Wu Xiu. They could only display the strength of Peak Xiantian. A minute later, Yu arrived beside Guapai. She reached out her hand and poked Guapai's head with a hint of annoyance. Recently, there wasn't a single time where she could stop worrying. Guapai's lips curled into a smirk. He didn't care that Shui Yunzi was in front of him and pulled Yu into his arms. Your husband is awesome again this time. This time, we've offended all the 5 sons of the great demon tribe. You're my wife, look, all the herbs on Medicine Demon Mountain are ours. I know you only have admiration for me now, but let's get down to business first. Guapai said with a proud face. Uncle Shui, you're here too. You've got a share. If you want any herbs, go and pick them yourself. Ha! You almost lost your life, and you're still showing off. Yu pinched Guapai's soft waist and said loudly, What about the good and evil steel? I really didn't expect that you would profit from a disaster this time. You actually comprehended the good and evil retribution on the good and evil steel. If Goddess Nuwa knew about this, she would probably recruit you as her subordinate when you return to the heavenly court. I'm not that lucky. Do you remember a few years ago when we were in a place called Yunshi County? You used a sky-stealing method to save the vengeful soul of that girl. This time, it was she who saved me. That good and evil retribution immortal technique was also used by her. Guapai said with a smile, but it's hard to say whether she's dead or alive right now. She's currently in Lao Juan's gourd. Yu nodded lightly. Then, she looked at Guapai and asked, Brother Bad Guy, what do you want to do next? The herbs on this island are very tempting, but you can't always stay here. Moreover, there are so many living people here. Even if Brother Bad Guy is now able to enter the merit list, you can't just directly kill all these people. I won't go so far as to kill all of them, but some people should be dealt with first. Then, we can discuss what to do next. Chapter 557. Guapai was in a very good mood. Since Wu Yu had left, the herbs on Medicine Devil Island could no longer grow at the same speed as before. However, the herbs on the 9 mountains were enough for Guapai to use for some time. Since Wu Yu has left, this young master will take over these things. There are a lot of Wu Xiu on Medicine Devil Island, so it will be somewhat troublesome. Guapai said to himself, I'll deal with that Yamada no Orochi first. Old man, you were poisoned by Yamada no Orochi in the past. Come with me this time. After saying that, Guapai pulled Daoist Bu Air and ran towards a ring-shaped river between the two mountains. Little Bad, be careful. If this Yamada no Orochi is also at the peak of Xiantian realm, it will be somewhat troublesome for us to deal with it. Daoist Bu Air looked at a 30-meter-long black snake in the river, and said softly. The snake also seemed to have discovered Guapai and Daoist Bu Air. It stuck out its tongue and looked at Guapai cautiously. But I'm definitely not a match for this big guy with my body. However, the biggest difference between humans and animals is that humans are good at using things. I'll first trap this big snake, then slowly deal with it. Guapao said, and a plan came to his mind. He quickly ran around the river. After about 10 minutes, Guapao's lips curled into a smile. Seal, this young master has been sealed for more than 40 days. I'll let this big snake have a taste of being sealed first. Guapai said. The river did not seem to have any changes, but the Yamada no Orochi in the river was frightened by the changes in the river. No matter how hard it twisted its body, it was unable to swim in the river. Hee, the formation taught by Uncle Water is more than enough to deal with a small snake like you. Guapai said with a smile. Then, he gave Daoist Bu Air some instructions and returned to Yu Er's side. Big brother bad guy, there are a total of 946 Wuxiu warriors and 138 peak Xiantian Wuxiu warriors. What do you want to do? Yu Er asked with a smile. If you don't want to leave, yours truly won't care if anything happens to you in the future. Of course, we can try to rope in those Xiantian pinnacle experts. Since their strength isn't suppressed, we can't be sure how strong they will be when they get out. They won't have much use for the herbs, but we can give them some pills. Guapai said with a smile. Yu Er nodded her head gently. With so many heavenly treasures, although Yu Er's alchemy skills were average, she had the approval of the original ancestor of Dan. She and Guapai each set up a cauldron and directly started refining pills on the summit of the Gen Position Mountain. Shui Yunzi also took out a few herbs from time to time and made some small toys. 3 days passed quickly and the fragrance of pills spread from the summit of the Gen Position Mountain. Many Wuxiu warriors climbed to the summit of the Gen Position Mountain. Small revitalizing pill, done, Yu Er said in a soft voice. An emerald-green cauldron slowly opened and a strong medicinal fragrance spread out from the cauldron. A group of cultivators surrounding the mountain couldn't help but fiercely take a few breaths. My name is Guapai, the sect master of Heavenly Dao Sect. Many of you should know who I am. The female devil of Medicine Devil Island has been driven away by me, and the people of Medicine Devil Sect are also under my control. Now I would like to discuss something with everyone, Guapai said with a smile. The group of Wuxiu warriors nodded. Some time ago, when Guapai contacted Wuxiu to deal with Medicine Devil Sect, almost all of the peak Xiantian experts had contacted him. At that time, those people only knew that this young man in front of them was not weak and had a lot of pills on him. But they never expected that this young man was also a medical cultivator, an outstanding one at that. Don't talk too much. I can break the array formation of this Medicine Devil Island and let you all out. Guapai's soft words were like a bomb that exploded in the crowd. Cough, cough. Guapai, little you, we have been trapped in this Medicine Devil Island for more than 100 years. We have tried all kinds of methods to break the array formation countless times. We know how powerful this array formation is. Little you, are you sure you can break the array formation? An old man asked softly. Many people recognized this old man. He was Josiah, one of the first batch of people to enter Medicine Devil Island. If little you says I can, then I can. I can even force you away. Breaking this array formation is not difficult. Guapai said softly. A straightforward person does not resort to insinuations. Guapai, little you, tell us your conditions. I have been trapped in this Medicine Devil Island for 63 years. I want to get out. Another old man said softly. The group of people beside him nodded. As you can see, I'm a medical cultivator and an alchemist. You've been on Medicine Devil Island for a long time. Aside from the herbs you handed over to Medicine Devil sect, I'm sure you all have a lot of good stuff on you. This Gua scoundrel won't rob you. I just want to make a deal with you all, Gua scoundrel said with a smile. Little brother, if you have something to say, just say it. Zhang Yizhao did not help much in the battle a few days ago. I hope little brother can forgive me. Zhang Yizhao said to Guopai with a smile. However, he did not help last time because he had no other choice. He was very clear about Yu Yu's strength. Peak Xiantian realm Wuxiu and Guopai are willing to exchange Dawn for medicinal herbs. As for how to do it, we can discuss it in detail. As for other Xiantian realm Wuxiu and Wuxiu, hand over 70% of your medicinal herbs, and I can help you open the seal and let you leave. If you don't agree, then Guopai will not force you. If you want to leave Medicine Devil Island again, you will have to think of a way. Guopai said with a smile. Little brother, you are going too far. You want 70% of our medicinal herbs? Why don't you let us leave all of them? A Japanese man said loudly. Guopai narrowed his eyes and looked at the man. Then, a throwing knife flew out from his hand and directly pierced the Japanese man's head. I forgot to mention one thing. This transaction is only limited to Huaxia people. After our Huaxia people finish their own business, if this young master is in a good mood, then I will consider other people. As for Japanese people, don't even think about it. None of you will be able to escape. Kawada Enigmo, don't think that I can't recognize you just because you have changed your appearance. Before our Huaxia people complete the transaction, I will personally deal with you. Last time, your Japanese Sakura group people went to Shu Mountain and hurt my brothers. There are some debts that we have to settle first. Guopai's voice faded away, and his figure flashed and directly blocked in front of a plainly dressed old man. Little brother, I am Guopai from Mao Mountain. I don't know why you are blocking in front of me. The old man looked at Guopai and said softly. I have said that your disguise technique is useless against this young master. Kawada Enigmo, we are both at the peak of the Xiantian realm. If you don't make a move, then you will never have the chance to make a move again. Guopai narrowed his eyes and said. The old man suddenly hit Guopai with his palm. Baka, arrogant Huaxia people, go to hell. This guy who called himself Wu Xiu no longer concealed himself. Many Wu Xiu people around him hurriedly retreated. Many people had recognized that this Wu Xiu was Kawada Enigmo, who had entered the Medicine Devil Island a few days ago. If we were outside the Medicine Devil Island, this young master might have to spend some effort to deal with you. But now there is no need for that. Go to hell, Guopai said as a large seal appeared in his hand. He directly smashed it on Kawada Enigmo's head. Although the seal was only the size of a square, it was enough to deal with Kawada Enigmo. With just one hit, Kawada Enigmo was dead. Cough cough. With my current strength, it is really difficult to use the heaven flipping seal. But the effect is not bad. Guopai said to himself. Everyone, I don't know if anyone has any objections to my proposal. You can raise them now and we can discuss it again. Hee, Little Yu's strength is outstanding. I have no objections. Let's do as Little Yu said. Little Yu, take a look and see what kind of pills these herbs can be exchanged for. Josiah said as he took out a canvas bag from his body. Then, he took out a pile of herbs from it. A replica of Qiankuan bag. Seems like Brother Zhou was also an expert in the past. Chapter 558. Josiah smiled and shook his head. 100 years ago, he accidentally entered the Medicine Devil Island during a treasure hunt. At that time, he was already in the nascent soul realm. However, after entering the Medicine Devil Island, his strength was suppressed to the peak of the Xiantian realm. Then, he met Shui Yu and fought with her. Brother Zhou, these herbs are good. I'll use these pills to exchange for them. Guapai didn't say much and threw a jade bottle in his hand to Josiah. Brother, did you refine these pills by yourself? Josiah took the jade bottle thrown by Guapai and looked at it. He was excited. Although he was only in the nascent soul realm at that time, the ups and downs in the Medicine Devil Island made him feel that once he left the island, he would enter the fusion realm within 10 years. At that time, ascending to the heaven realm would be just around the corner. The pills that Guapai gave him this time were exactly the pills that could pave the way for him after the nascent soul realm. How could he not be excited? However, looking at Guapai's indifferent expression, he became more and more interested in Guapai. Brother Zhou, if you have nowhere to go after leaving, you can find me in Bugyaku, Huaxia's imperial capital. Pills are just worldly things. If you want to go further in your cultivation, we can discuss it, Guapai said with a smile. Josiah nodded firmly. Brother, since Boss Zhou is satisfied with your pills, I also agree to trade with you. These are the medicinal ingredients I've saved up over the years. As he spoke, another old man laid out a pile of medicinal ingredients on the ground. Brother, see if you are satisfied. If you have any requests, you can tell me. Guapai smiled and threw a jade bottle to the old man. Brother, I'm very satisfied with these things, but I don't know if you have any pills that can detoxify the poison. I want to exchange for one. The old man said softly. This detoxification pill is for you. Although it can't guarantee that it can cure all poisons, it definitely won't be a problem under normal circumstances. As he spoke, Guapai tossed an emerald green pill to the old man. The old man thanked him and accepted the pill. The following transactions were even faster. 124 Huaxia's innate peak masters quickly exchanged for satisfactory medicinal pills from Guapai. Guapai naturally also received a basin full of platinum. He was quite satisfied with the medicinal herbs of these masters. More importantly, many of these people would look for Guapai after they went out. Guapai was confident that he could win them over. Little brother, these are all the medicinal ingredients I have on me. I'll give them all to you. I hope you can let me out. A middle-aged man watched as the group of Xiantian pinnacle experts finished their work. Then, he placed all the things he had accumulated over the past 20 years in front of Guapai. Guapai nodded to the middle-aged man. With a wave of his hand, Guapai collected all the medicinal ingredients into his gourd. The power of an example was great. With someone taking the lead, the rest was naturally easy. The trapped Huaxias and Wuxios took out the medicinal ingredients and handed them to Guapai. They were busy until evening. Except for a few medicine fanatics, almost all of Wuxios exchanged medicinal ingredients for a chance to leave the Medicine Devil Island. Everyone, I'll open the seal of the Medicine Devil Island at midnight tomorrow. According to the agreement, I'll let everyone out. It's getting late today, so everyone should rest early, Guapai said with a smile. Everyone nodded. After a while, the group of people left Mount Jen. Brother Bad Guy, Wu Xiu's matter is settled. What about the doctors? Yuer smiled and asked Guapai softly when she saw the group of people leaving. According to the heavenly book, when the 5 demons gather, the world will be in chaos. When I return to Huaxia, I'll increase the development of Bugyaku. These doctors can be used as a reserve force in Bugyaku. Those who can help me will stay. Those who don't can stay on the Medicine Devil Island for now, Guapai said softly. At dawn the next day, dozens of Wu Xios arrived at Mount General Huaxia's and Wu Xiu's matters were settled. These foreigners were a little anxious. Although their strength didn't follow Guapai's classification of Xiantian and Hotian, they knew their own standards. Huaxia Gua, this is what I've obtained in the past few years on the island. I'll give it all to you. I only ask that you release me. Is that okay? An Englishman placed a pile of precious medicinal herbs on the ground and asked softly, If you're willing to hand over the rainbow tulip on your body, I'll agree to your conditions. Since you've said that you'll give it all to me, why are you still holding back? Guo Pai said with a smile. Being polite to Hua Xia's people didn't mean that he would be polite to others. Although he was a banished immortal, he was very clear about the history of Hua Xia. He couldn't allow foreigners to invade Hua Xia. This big brother couldn't just blacken them once. Guo, I've only kept this tulip. Isn't that enough? The Englishman took out the tulip with a trace of reluctance, and asked with a trace of hope. You can keep your things. I won't force you, Guo Pai said with a smile. The Englishman shook his head, and put the rainbow tulip on the ground. After being trapped here for 33 years, he had long been tired of the life here. Hua Xia, I'm also willing to exchange all my things for a chance to go out. With that, another person came up. This time, he didn't take out all the medicinal herbs he had on him like the Englishman. If you can let me extract 3 drops of blood essence from you, I'll let you take away half of these medicinal herbs. How about it? About 10 minutes later, a big man appeared in front of Guo Pai. Guo Pai just glanced at him and said with a smile, If little brother can let me follow you after we go out, not to mention 3 drops of blood essence, even if you make me into a medicine man, I won't have any objections. The big man said loudly. This time, it was Guo Pai's turn to be stunned. I won't hide it from you. My name is Jocko. I didn't want to go out because I know that if I go out and any of my enemies find out, I'll definitely die. Staying here can at least guarantee my safety, but I've stayed here long enough. Even if I die, I have to go out. Jocko said loudly. You're the butcher Jocko? Haha, no wonder your aura is so special. Guo Pai said with a smile. He naturally didn't know this person in front of him. However, the old Guo Pai knew Jocko's name and regarded him as his idol. He was a person who dared to kill people regardless of their nationality, whether they were good or bad people. As long as someone offered him a price, he would act. Jocko was the most successful assassin in the past 50 years. Little brother, do you agree or not? I'm the butcher Jocko. The big man said with a hint of pride. I'll accept your things. After we leave Medicine Devil Island, you'll follow me back to Hua Xia. There's something I need to make clear to you. Since you want to follow me, I only have one request, and that is to obey. If you don't, you'll die a horrible death. You'll die a worse death than anyone you've ever killed before. After Guo Pai finished speaking, Jocko couldn't help but shudder. He looked at the harmless young man in front of him and couldn't help but nod his head. The transaction lasted until morning. Guo Pai accepted Wu Xiu's medicinal ingredient. At first, he wanted to kill a few Japanese Wu Xiu. However, after thinking about it, he gave up on the idea. There was a reason for everything, and he couldn't kill them. However, if Boer Daoist wanted to kill them after they left, it would be in line with the rules. At midnight, everyone who was preparing to leave gathered at the peak of the Zhen position. Ever since Guo Pao had broken the array formation at the peak of the Zhen position, he had already found a way to break the array formation of the entire Medicine Devil Island. Everyone, I'll open the formation in a moment. Get ready. As Guo Pai's voice fell, the 900 Wu Xiu felt an unprecedented sense of comfort. A huge door appeared in the void and slowly opened. A group of people rushed out of the door. We're out. Haha, we're finally out. Meng Fan, you humiliated me on Medicine Devil Island that day. It's time for us to settle the score. Chapter 559. Guo Pai and the other 3 hadn't come out of the Medicine Devil Island yet, so they didn't know that it was a mess now. There were more than 900 Wu Xiu on the Medicine Devil Island, and many of them had grudges against each other. Because of the restrictions on the Medicine Devil Island, no one dared to fight. Now that they were out, they naturally wanted to take revenge. Liao, do you think I, Meng Fan, am afraid of you? With that, Meng Fan directly raised his cultivation to the core formation stage. Liao Yugua didn't show any weakness and also raised his cultivation to the core formation stage. For a moment, the whole sea became lively. In addition to the group of people at the peak of the Xiantian realm who recovered their strength, the group of Wu Xiu below the Xiantian realm panicked. They could stay on the sea for a few hours, but if they wanted to find a place to go ashore, most of them couldn't do it. It's over. If I had known, I would have stayed on the Medicine Devil Island. It's over. Someone shouted, making the originally nervous crowd even more nervous. Let's go out first. Save those people outside if you can. I don't expect them to repay me, but I hope that they won't do anything to me at the critical moment. Guo Pai said and flew out of the Medicine Devil Island. His strength instantly recovered to the peak of the gold core stage. Then, a big ship appeared under his feet. This was the ship he got in the East China Sea. It was more than enough to save the struggling Wu Xiu in front of him. Stay on the ship. If you have any grudges, go to the sea and solve them. If you don't listen, don't blame me for being rude. Guo Pai said loudly to the crowd. The group of Wu Xiu seemed to have caught a life-saving straw, and naturally, no one dared to make trouble. Guo Pai dealt with the Wu Xiu in front of him. With Ao Feng and Shui Yunzi on the ship, even those in the gold core stage who had solved their grudges wouldn't dare to play any trick. Guo Pai returned to the Medicine Devil Island with satisfaction. There were tens of thousands of Chinese medicine practitioners here. He had to find a way to get them out. Leave or stay here. You choose. If you want to leave, you have to listen to me. If you want to stay here, I won't force you. Guo Pai stood on the mountain peak, gathered tens of thousands of Chinese medicine practitioners together, and said loudly to a group of people, "Young man, what can we do with you? We've been here for decades. We don't know what the situation outside. Even the people outside have forgotten about us. What can we do outside?" An energetic old asked loudly. "I'm a doctor. I have medical centers in the capital, Wu Castle, and several other places. If you follow me, I can open medical centers all over Huaxia, and even more places in the world. I can promote Chinese medicine," Guo Pai said with a smile. "How old are you?" "We recognize your strength, but I don't believe that you opened a Chinese medicine clinic. Even if you started learning Chinese medicine when you were in your mother's womb, what can your medical skills do?" Another old man said loudly. "The foundation of Chinese medicine is looking, listening, questioning, and feeling the pulse. I don't want to explain too much to you. One of you has a liver disease and the other has a kidney disease. Although you've stayed on the Medicine Devil Island for a long time and obtained a lot of good herbs, it can only temporarily control your illness," Guo Pai said with a smile. "Also, even if I bring you out, it doesn't mean that all of you can become people in my medical center. You may think that your medical skills are good, but after you leave, you might not even be comparable to my students," Guo Pai said loudly. "Little brat, those who are more capable are the teachers. You are able to tell that I have a liver disease. I am impressed by you. However, if we were to leave this island and find out that you do not live up to your name, even if I die, I will not follow you," the old man said loudly. "Li Chai of Cloud Prefecture is courteous." The old man clenched his fists and pointed his thumb downwards. Guo Pao laughed when he saw this. "Li family of Yunzhou, your ancestors are from the medical sect. Guo Pai of Tiandao sect, greetings." Guo Pai clenched his fists and said to Li Kai with a smile. Li Kai looked at Guo Pai's gesture and squatted on the ground. "I've failed. Please don't blame me," Li Kai said with his head down. Li Kai lowered his head as he spoke. Guo Scoundrel smiled and nodded his head. The descendant of the Li clan of Cloud Prefecture, it wasn't a loss for him to call him Master Scoundrel. A group of people who knew Li Chai saw Li Chai's expression and could more or less guess what was going on. Li Chai was a member of the medicine order, and it seemed that he was below this youth in terms of seniority. Since they were below Li Chai, they immediately had their own thoughts. "We're willing to leave with Master Bad and follow Master Bad's arrangements." A few old men looked at each other and said to Guapai. Guapai smiled and nodded. The group of old men who were the most difficult to deal with had been dealt with. The rest of the people were easy to deal with. Little friend, this old man has already stayed on this island for more than 30 years. I don't have anything to worry about in the outside world. However, this old man really likes the medicinal herbs on this mountain and hopes to stay on this island. An old man stepped forward and said softly when he saw that many people had decided to leave with Guapao. Old master, you can stay here if you want. Here's the great doctor's medicinal herbs. Take a look. I hope it will be helpful to you. Guapai said and handed over a book on medicinal herbs that he had written himself to the old man. The old man took the book and read a few pages. Suddenly, his eyes widened. Little you, this old man is willing to leave the island with you. I only hope that little you, no, master, will accept me as your disciple. I, Chinweizi, am willing to follow master, the old man said and knelt in front of Guapai. Old master, please get up. I have a base in the imperial capital that produces medicinal herbs. After you leave with me, help me check there. I'll slowly explain this medicinal herbs book to you. Guapai said with a smile. Chinweizi excitedly put the great doctor's medicinal herbs book on his body and stood behind Guapai. In about an hour, except for a few doctors that Guapai could tell were up to no good from their appearance, everyone else agreed to follow Guapai. Guapai was overjoyed. These doctors had stayed on Medicine Devil Island for a long time and were carefully selected to stay. If he could use them, Bugyaka's strength would be just around the corner. Uncle Shui, I'll leave these people to you. Just increase the buoyancy of the water so that they can float on the water. We won't go back to Japan, but directly to the high seas. I'll find a way to bring them back. Guapai said with a smile. Shui Yunzi nodded. As the ancestor of the water immortal, although he could only exert the strength of a peak golden core, it was more than enough to make tens of thousands of people float on the water. Brother bad guy, in fact, you don't need to trouble Uncle Shui. Just spend a few elixirs to find a few big guys at the bottom of the sea and let them do the work. Yuer said with a smile. Guapai thought for a while and directly flew out of the island, diving into the sea. Then, he threw out a few planks from Laojuan's gourd. Looking at the simple big boat he made, Guapai smiled and returned to Medicine Devil Island again. Little Bad, I see that you're almost done with your work. What about this big guy? Daoist Boer had been guarding Yamata no Orochi for several days. Seeing that the big snake was trapped in the formation and couldn't move, he stopped torturing it and returned to Guapai's side and asked with a smile. It's a pity to kill it directly. I'll put it away first and let Uncle Ao see if it has the blood of the Dragon Clan. I believe Uncle Ao will definitely have a way to deal with it. Guapai smiled and looked at everyone leaving the island. With a wave of his hand, a 30-meter-long big snake flew out of the river and disappeared in midair. You guys get on the boat first. We don't need so many herbs on the Medicine Devil Island for the time being. I'll set up a formation around the island first. If we lack anything in the future, we can come back. Hee, this Medicine Devil Island is now mine. Guapai said and spent more than 3 hours to settle everything. Then, the Medicine Devil Island sank into the sea again in front of everyone. Chapter 560. Setting off from the high seas, a luxurious ship and a strange wooden boat were moving side by side. What made the martial cultivators on the ship surprised was that this strange wooden boat was actually escorted by a group of several dozen killer whales. Bad guy G, come in for a moment. Guapai, who was standing on the deck, was called into the room by Yuer. There was no one else in the room. Other than Yuer, there was also a girl. It was his beautiful foreign disciple, Yoshikawa Mina. Yuer's wife. I don't know what you're looking for me for. Mina is also here. You can discuss the matter of Chinese medicine with my beautiful wife. My first wife's medical skills are very high. Guopai smiled and sat beside Yu. Don't give me so many useless things, bad guy G. You also know that Yu doesn't interfere with your personal matters. Since you came to Japan this time, since the matter has been resolved, shouldn't you give Miss Mina an explanation? Yu said with a smile. Ahem, first wife must be joking. Without first wife's permission, how would I dare to casually take in a concubine? Guopai said with a cheeky smile. Yoshikawa Mina understood the Huaxia language, and immediately blushed. I just chatted with Sister Mina for a while. Medical skills have no boundaries, love has no boundaries. If she's willing, you can take her back to Bugyaku. I'll talk to Sister Shuang. Yu said with a smile. Mina looked at Guopai. Guopai smiled and nodded. After experiencing the incident on Medicine Devil Island, from some details, Guopai understood his Japanese female disciple better. A doctor was more like a pure doctor than himself. Accepting her was naturally nothing. First wife, what you said just now was really good. Using virtue to convince people, absolutely using virtue to convince people. Love has no boundaries, your wife is magnanimous. Guopai said with a smile. Bad guy G, I know what you're thinking. Mina is an exception. If you want to get the European quadruplets to Bugyaku, don't blame Yu for being impolite. After Yu finished speaking, she went straight to the deck. Guopai shook his head. I don't think so. I'm a serious person. Following behind Yu, Guopai said loudly. When the two big ships were about to enter Huaxia's international waters, Guopai saw a fleet of warships. Although it was 10,000 meters away, Guopai could still see the people on the warships clearly. It was his elder brother, Li Yao. He and Jia Yuan received a call from Guopai and directly flew back from Japan to Huaxia. Then, they told Guopai that he needed a warship and reported it to Kai Tianyang on the same day. Kai Tianyang only said one sentence. Whatever Guopai needs, prepare it for him. This made the group of senior colonels in the Navy widen their eyes. In a while, you don't have to say anything. If someone asks you something, just ignore it. The warships are here. Just get on the warships, Guopai told the people on the two big ships. However, when the warships approached, Guoxiao's worries about causing a huge commotion were unfounded. There were no outsiders on the leading warship. All of them were members of the Tyrannosaurus group. The other warships were basically made up of 531 or some other people who had a good relationship with him. Hey little bad, you're amazing this time. You directly smuggled so many people. The number one chief actually asked the Navy to fully cooperate. If this matter is spread out, it will definitely shock Huaxia. Xing Tian said with a smile. Xing Tian said to let people get on the ship first. I have other things to arrange. Guopai said. The people on the luxurious warship directly rose into the air and landed on the warship, including the members of the T-Rex group. Nearly 1,000 people, all of them were wuxiu. The strength of the group of people who boarded the warship first was even more outstanding. Boss, where did you get these people? They don't look good, but each of them has outstanding strength. Niumeng ran all the way to Guopai and asked in a low voice. Hey, some of the outer disciples of Tiandao sect. This time, the sect has arranged for me to bring the sect's disciples out to see the world. Guopai said with a smile. Niumeng opened his eyes wide. In the past, he only knew about wuxiu sects like Huaxia's Shushan, Maoshan, Wudong, and so on. Compared to Guopai's Tiandao sect, the difference was too big. Hey boss, I don't know if your Tiandao sect has any requirements for accepting people. You can see if I'm suitable. I've been in the army for so many years, and it's really boring. Boss, you can get me an outer disciple. Niumeng whispered while rubbing his hands. Hey, we're all brothers. If you want to come to my Tiandao sect, I'll give you an outer disciple elder position. You can randomly pick 100 people and arrange them yourself. Guopai said with a smile. Niumeng opened his eyes wide. Boss, I don't need an outer disciple elder position. I just want to follow you for a while. You can inform my old man. Otherwise, my old man won't agree to let me leave the army. Niuming said with a smile. Niuming's words were true. He didn't know when it started, but there was an unwritten rule in the entire Huaxia army. No military personnel could interfere with any action of Bugyaku for any reason. If Bugyaku had any request, they must do their best. Finally, there was another rule for the fourth generation of the Huaxia Red Army. If anyone wanted to leave the army, as long as someone in Bugyaku said something, they could leave the army with their military rank. Recently, I'm also short of people. After returning to the capital, I'll call the elders of 531. You and Brother Wei can come to my place first. Guopai thought about it and said with a smile. This time, he pulled so many people back from Medicine Devil Island. There had to be someone to manage them. Instead of using other people, it was better to get the elders of 531 to help. Okay, it's settled then. I'll tell He Shan and the others. Hey, if you follow bad guy, you don't need to ask about food and drink. Haha, this time, even the old man can't say anything. Niuming ran to the side happily. Fourth brother, how did you rope in so many people all of a sudden? I think most of them are doctors. Among them, there are a few people from Huaxia who are listed as missing in Huaxia. Where did you find them? Liao held a small device in his hand and registered the people who boarded the ship one by one. Among the crowd, there were many people who went missing from Huaxia 20 years ago. I had some adventures in Japan. I won't tell you in detail. Second brother, come here. I have something to tell you. Guopai smiled and said to Jia Yuan, who was not far away. Fourth brother, you're not being nice. You took Brother Yao to Japan for so long. I just arrived in Japan. I haven't even warmed up yet, and you're asking us to go back to the capital. It's not easy for me to come out this time. You should at least let me torment myself for a few days. Jia Yuan complained. There are plenty of things to torment yourself. Look, there's something for you to torment yourself now. Guopai said with a smile. I remember that second brother has a piece of land in the north of the capital. The house is almost built. Get people to hurry up. We have to have a place to live in the capital. Ahem, fourth brother, this is what you meant by tormenting yourself. It took me a lot of effort to get that piece of land back then. You've done it all with just one sentence. I know you're rich, and I'm not short of money either. You have to let me have a good drink. In addition, if you want to get all these tens of thousands of people to the capital, you have to find a way to get their household registration. Jia Yuan said with a smile. I'll contact Li Dafu later about the household registration. I think this matter should be easy for him to solve. Guopai said with a smile. I found so many talents for Huaxia all of a sudden. Chairman Kai might even give me a reward. Bad brother, we'll reach the port in about half an hour. What should we do next? Xing Tian ran over from the warship and asked with a smile. Brother Xing, when we reach the port, we'll just dock first. It's not easy to get so many people off the ship all of a sudden. Guopai said with a smile. Brother Yuan, I remember that you have a branch here. Get all these people to your company first and let your company close down for the time being. Jia Yuan nodded and made a few phone calls. Guopai arranged these people on Medicine Devil Island, and the matter could come to an end for now. Chapter 561. Other than Qinweizi, Li Kai, and a few others who followed Guopai to Daidu, the rest of the people were temporarily arranged to stay in Liaogang City. Although Guopai and the others returned to Daidu in a low-key manner, the news of tens of thousands of people from overseas still spread like wildfire. It's good that everything is fine. If Little Bad wants to cause trouble, then let him do it. Guopai received some news from Jia Guyun. He originally wanted to make a call to ask about the details, but after thinking about it, he didn't make the call. The next evening, Guapai and the others returned to Bugyaku in 4 big jeep. Brother Gu, I brought a few friends. Arrange for their accommodation first. We'll talk about it later during dinner. Guapai handed Chinweizi and the others over to Gu Yun and brought Yura and Mina back to Bugyaku. Boss is so mighty. I was wondering why he didn't bring us to Japan this time. In the end, he went to pick up Miss Yoshikawa. Big sis Yura actually didn't object. Boss is really a hero. Chunjiati muttered softly. However, a few people who had seen Yoshikawa Mina before nodded their heads. Guapai naturally heard Chunjiati's words. He smiled and glanced at Chunjiati. Chunjiati ran to the kitchen to help Zhou Tianyang. Yaoshi Dojo Master is really too fickle. He already has so many people, and he still went out to eat secretly. Moreover, it's a Japanese. Jia Xiaoxiao pouted as she stood not far away. Xiaoxiao, don't talk nonsense. Batty isn't such a person. Lu Yaoshi bit his lips and said softly. If Guapai was with your Lin Shuang and those high school students, then it was fine. But why did he bring a Japanese woman back? What position did he have in his heart? Cough, cough. What are you guys talking about? Come here. It's not like you haven't seen her before. This is Yoshikawa Mina, but she has changed her name to Chang Mina. It's true that she is Japanese, but Yu said that love knows no boundaries. Moreover, half of Mina's blood is Huaxia. She will be in Bugyaku in the future. You guys should get to know each other. Guapai said with a smile. Yaoshi Jiejie, you take Sister Mina to Sister Shuang. I'll go call Xiaoxi and the others. We haven't had a good chat for a long time. I have something to talk to you guys, Yu said with a smile, and then pulled Mina to Lu Yaoshi's side. Bad guy Jiejie, you go do your thing first. Get someone to send food to us for dinner. Guapai smiled and nodded. Looking at the envious eyes of the men in Bugyaku, Guapai smiled even more happily. See, this is the most outstanding first wife. Leaving the matter of appeasing the harem to Yu is definitely the right choice. Guapai's plan was right. When a group of girls appeared in front of them again the next day, Guapai couldn't help but praise Yu again. The girls chatted happily with Mina without any barriers. Dinner wasn't ready and Guapai didn't join in. This time, the information of the tens of thousands of doctors was in Guapai's mind. Those people could be used directly, and those people had to be taught a lesson. Guapai began to classify them. The team is too big. The 5 demons have gathered, and the world is in chaos. I really don't know how many of these people can be used by me when the world is in chaos. Guapai couldn't help but sigh. At this time, dinner in Bugyaku began. There were indeed a lot of people. The group of people from Baolong Mountain already lived in the Gu residence. Jia Yuan and Li Yao also didn't treat themselves as outsiders. The group of people from 531 also pestered Gu Yun for a courtyard to live in. In addition to Ao Feng, Shui Yunzi, Li Shixin, Qiu Daoyuan, and a group of experts among experts, the most lively place in the entire imperial capital was none other than the imperial capital, Bugyaku. Little Bad, where did those people come from? It's a pity that they are a little old. Otherwise, I would really want to take in a disciple in the human world to inherit my legacy. Li Shixin looked at the few people Guapai brought and said softly, Uncle Li, if you have such thoughts, I can introduce you to a few good seedlings. Their temperament is a little lacking. If you nurture them well, they might become talent. In any case, you and Uncle Chiu are idle. If you teach them well, you can earn a cheap disciple. If not, it doesn't cost much. Guapai said with a smile. Then, he waved his hand at the group of people from 531. Niu Meng and the others quickly ran over. The opportunity is in front of you. You have seen the few masters in front of you. You have come at the right time. Senior Li and Senior Chiu want to take in a disciple today. You guys can eat at this table today. Whether or not you succeed depends on your luck. Guapai said with a smile. Niu Meng nodded firmly. Although he didn't know the strength of the two old men in front of him, since Big Bad said so, they were definitely not ordinary people. Old Lee, don't be picky. There are a total of 4 children. 2 for each person. You can't stay in Little Bad's place for nothing. If you bring them out, bring them out. If you don't, no one will say anything. Chiu Daoyuan said with a smile. Li Shixin was stunned for a moment, then nodded. Guopai looked at the 4 big guys kowtowing to the 2 old men and laughed. However, what he saw next made Guopai widen his eyes. Master, please accept this disciple's 3 kowtows. The person who spoke was none other than the 15-year-old Nangong Lingma. Her master was also not an outsider. If it wasn't the ancestor of the water immortals, Shui Yunzi, who else could it be? Haha, good karma reaps good karma. Today, this old man will take you as a disciple. If this old man is trapped by the great demon again in the future, at least this old man will have something to think about. Of course, this old man won't call you master for nothing. When this old man returns to the heavenly realm, the Queen Mother has a string of good beads. This old man will get it for you. Shui Yunzi said with a big laugh. The group didn't know whether Shui Yunzi was drunk or pretending to be unconscious. However, Yuer smiled very happily. She pointed at little Lingma and said, Girl, hurry up and thank your master. Little Lingma smiled and thanked Shui Yunzi. However, she thought in her heart, how can this old man brag better than Big Brother Bad Guy? Ascending to the heavenly realm to get the Queen Mother's beads? Bragging, what a braggart! Of course, the half-drunk and half-sober Shui Yunzi was too lazy to explain to little Lingma. After 3 rounds of drinking, the group of people who shouldn't be drunk, no matter how much they were forced to drink, were swaying left and right. Perhaps their hearts were sober, but they were really drunk. Perhaps this kind of drunkenness was what they were looking forward to. The group of people were carried back to their rooms by the Gu clan's servants. It seemed that every time the owner of Bugyaku invited a meal, there would always be a large group of people drunk. The servants were already used to it. In the backyard of Bugyaku, it was already midnight. Guopai stood on top of the rockery and looked up at the sky. The courtyard was very quiet. He could even hear the snoring of the Gu clan, accompanied by a few dog barks from time to time. Guopai couldn't sleep. After 7 years in the human world, Guopai had a deep feeling after returning from the Medicine Devil Island. Yuer leaped up and steadily landed beside Guopai. She asked with a smile, Even true monarchs have times when they are troubled? Yuer, how much do you know about the great demon? Guopai asked with a smile. The demon lord has 5 sons. Back then, he was given the title of 4th son. One of his sons was rescued by the bright moon Buddha. That's all I know. There are also some things that elder sister sometimes talks about. Whether they are true or false, elder sister doesn't distinguish them. Yuer is also too lazy to ask. However, there is one rumor in the heavenly court that is wrong. Yu is a woman. The bright moon Buddha fell in love with the descendant of the demon lord. Isn't it a bit ridiculous if it gets out? Yuer said with a smile. It does seem a bit ridiculous. However, there is one thing that has been bothering me recently. Who is the demon lord? Guopai asked softly. I don't know. True monarchs, you are thinking about so many questions now. It seems that your life is different from when you were just banished to the lower realm. Yuer said with a smile. However, just as her voice fell, a meteor appeared in the sky and directly messed up the constellation. Guopai was stunned. Then, he pulled Yuer and jumped down from the rockery. God really doesn't want me to be idle. Chapter 562. Yuer raised her head and looked at the stars. Similarly, she understood something. She leaned her head on Guopai's body, and the two of them stood in the courtyard for more than 10 minutes. Bad daddy, little mommy, why aren't you sleeping at night? What are you doing here? A young child's voice sounded in their ears. Little Meng Meng was wearing pajamas and looked at the two of them sleepily. Ahem, my precious daughter, what are you doing out here in the middle of the night instead of sleeping? Guo Shuai coughed twice and asked. Yu Er's face turned red from embarrassment after hearing the little girl's words. I was sleeping well, but just now I felt a little stuffy in my chest, so I got up. Bad daddy, since you aren't sleeping, why don't you accompany Meng Meng to play? Let's go to the beach to play. We will be able to see the sunrise in a while. When the sun rises in the morning, it will make Meng Meng feel very comfortable. The little girl threw herself into Guopai's embrace and said softly, Okay, Daddy will bring you to the beach now. Guopai nodded his head towards Yu. Then, with a leap, he stepped on a flying sword and disappeared from Bugyaku's backyard. Those big sisters were right. This big baddie is very obedient to little Meng Meng. Isn't he afraid of spoiling the child? Yu pouted and said. However, Guopai and Yu naturally could not hear Yu words. Guopai brought little Meng Meng and flew towards the South China Sea at an altitude of 10,000 meters. Little Meng Meng was already at the pinnacle of Enidia. Naturally, she was not afraid at all in the sky. At the beginning, she let Guopai pull her. Later on, she directly shook off Guopai's hand and flew in the sky by herself. Little girl, looks like Yu taught you a lot. Take this thing and try to fly in the sky. With that said, Guopai threw a shuttle-like thing to Meng Meng. Meng Meng stepped on the shuttle-like thing and her speed increased by more than 2 times. Bad dad, that's more like it. If there's anything good, you have to think of Meng Meng. Hee, if there's anything good, you don't have to hide it. Just give it to me, the little girl said with a smile. Guopai's face was filled with black lines. The thing he gave little Meng Meng just now was called the Shuttle of Flying Apsara. It was an authentic shuttle of flying Apsara. This thing was made by an itinerant cultivator back then using a piece of bone from the 108 flying Apsara wings. He did not know why it appeared in the Grand Supreme Elder's gourd. It was definitely a supreme-grade Dharma treasure. Daughter, when you break through to the nascent soul realm, I will give you a few more good things. Guopai said with a smile. In less than 10 minutes, the two of them had already stopped on a small island in the South China Sea. Dad, you haven't played with little Meng Meng like this for a long time. After tossing and turning at the bottom of the sea for more than an hour, the little girl snuggled in Guopai's arms and whispered. Guopai gently stroked little Meng Meng's head and couldn't help but shake his head. Little girl, your father is different from the fathers of other children in the capital. You are also different from them. You should know a lot of things now and you will know more in the future. The greater a person's ability, the greater the responsibility. You will slowly understand in the future, Guopai whispered to little Meng Meng, regardless of whether the little girl could understand what he said or not. Little mommy said that one day you will be separated from me. If I don't work hard, I will never see you again. So Meng Meng works hard to learn what little mommy taught me. Little Meng Meng said with a serious face, I want to be with Dad, Mommy, Mommy Shi, Mommy Yu, Mommy Yezi, Mommy Lingling, Mommy Weiwei and Sister Lingma forever. Little girl, you are still young now. You will understand in the future. Dad also hopes to be with you forever. However, things are unpredictable, so don't be too stubborn about everything. Things may not always go as you wish. Remember to stay true to your heart. Guopai said softly. Little Meng Meng nodded thoughtfully. Then, the sea monster that had been playing with little Meng Meng at the bottom of the sea appeared again, not far from the island. However, it seemed to be a little different from before. Daughter, have a good rest here. Dad will be back soon. Guopai frowned and left the island in a flash. 8 well-dressed wuxiu surrounded the sea monster with a strange big net. The sea monster was not stupid. It dragged the 8 of them and swam towards Guopai and little Meng Meng for dozens of li, third brother. The 7 of us will pull the net. You go and extract the essence of this big fish's brain. It is such a big fellow. After we extract its brain, we can go back and report on our mission. One of the young men said excitedly to another young man. Okay. The young man roared and leaped up. He held a pitch-black stick in his hand. One end of the stick was extremely sharp. From afar, one could see that the stick was emitting a cold light. He stabbed it towards the sea monster's head. Break. As Guapai said that word, a huge hole appeared in the big net that the 7 young men had pulled. The sea monster escaped through the hole and swam towards Guapai. Guapai landed on the sea monster's body, and the young man's fatal attack missed. Guys, this sea monster is fated with my daughter. Give me some face. Although I don't know why you want to extract its brain, it is best not to do such a thing. It is against the will of the heavens. Guapai said softly. However, the 8 young men's faces had turned dark after their attack missed. Kid, although we don't know who you are, the matters of our Southern Seas strange flower sect are not something you should stick your nose into. Otherwise, if anything happens, don't blame us for not warning you. The leader of the group narrowed his eyes at Guapai and said, Cultivation is not easy. Take care of yourself. After saying that, Guapao stepped on the water and swam towards the small island. The 7 young men looked at each other, communicating with their eyes. Then, the 7 of them separated and surrounded Guapao. Kill! The 7 of them roared at the same time. Guapai shook his head lightly. 7 fasting stage wuxio. If they were in the mainland, they would not be weak. But compared to him, they were too weak. I saved this sea monster for your own good. If you do too many things that go against the will of the heavens, it will not be good for your future cultivation. Guapai's gaze fell on the leader of the group. Next, he released a powerful pressure, causing the 7 young men to retreat 100 meters, coughing out blood. Strange flower sect. Interesting. A few disciples are plagued by karma, but their cultivation base is not affected at all. Looks like I'll have to find some time to meet this strange flower sect, Guapai said softly. Friend, how should I address you? You have ruined our strange flower sect's business today. We will get back at you sooner or later. One of the young men said loudly to Guapai. Looks like you guys are really used to being arrogant. You actually dare to say such words to get back at me? Haha, good. My name is Guapai, Guapai of Tiandao sect. I usually stay in the imperial capital. If you want to get back at me, just go to Bugyaku and find me. Guapai said as he moved his fingers. An extremely small jade core fell on the leader's body. Then, he stepped on the sea monster and left. Big brother, what do we do? One of the young men asked with a gloomy face. We are not his opponent. This time we have lost. Tiandao sect, I will remember this. Let's go back and tell the sect master to get back at him. After saying that, the 7 of them flew towards the depths of the southern sea on their swords. Big guy, since they can find this place, I think you should hide somewhere else. This sea will not be peaceful in the future. Guapai said softly to Lei Feng. Lei Feng naturally understood Guapai's voice transmission. He nodded at Guapai and turned to swim away. Guapai returned to the island once again. Then, the sun rose. The 2 of them did not stay idle and absorbed the light of dawn with all their strength. After about half an hour, Guapai woke up first. Looking at his daughter, he smiled and nodded. But then, his face turned gloomy. Chapter 563. A trace of the smell of blood came from the surface of the sea. Guapao could sense that this trace of blood came from a place 10,000 meters away. It was the essence blood of the monster that he had saved, and it even contained a trace of resentment. Little Meng Meng also seemed to have sensed something. She frowned and woke up from her meditation. She looked at Guapai with an unhappy expression. Little girl, let's go. We should go back. Guapao shook his head and said softly. His tens of thousands of years of cultivation experience told him that he shouldn't fight with someone he wasn't familiar with in an unfamiliar place. Although he wanted to know who killed Lei Feng, and he even guessed who did it, it was inconvenient to bring the little girl with him. He had to send the little girl back to the imperial capital first. Bad father, something happened to the Lei Feng. Before Guopai could say anything, little Meng Meng said with a distressed expression. Guopai shook his head helplessly. The little girl's perception was very strong. She already knew what happened. Little girl, this is how the world works. The weak are prey to the strong. Just like that time when father went to the East Sea to save you. If father didn't have the strength, you would still be in the East Sea. Huda and the others might have become the guardian spirit beasts of some sect in the East Sea. Guopai said softly as he patted the little girl's head. I want to avenge little Lei Feng. The little girl was stunned for a moment. Then she said with a serious face, Father, I understand what you are saying. But little mother also said that revenge should be done quickly. Otherwise, it will affect my future cultivation. I want to see who hurt my good friend. After saying that, the little girl stepped on the shuttle of flying Apsara and flew towards the place where the Lei Feng had died. Cough, cough. Little girl, wait for me. Guopai coughed twice and quickly chased after her. The distance of 10,000 meters was only a few seconds for the two of them. They had already arrived at the place where the Lei Feng had died. The 30-meter-long Lei Feng no longer had any signs of life. Its head was cut open by a sharp weapon with a diameter of nearly 1 meter. The fins on its body were also cut off. A few sharks rushed over after hearing the news and were eating the Lei Feng's corpse. The scene was very bloody. Scram, all of you scram. The little girl stepped on the shuttle of flying Apsara and held a small flying sword in her hand. She stabbed at the sharks. Her powerful aura made the sharks, who were tasting the delicious food, flee. The little girl landed on Panty's corpse and gently touched it with her little hand. A few hours ago, Panty had followed her to play around in the underwater world. Now it had become a corpse. The person who had caused all this was just a kilometer away from her. A man in red stood in the void and looked at Xiao Meng Meng with a trace of disdain. You killed it. Why? Xiao Meng Meng asked the man in red in a childish voice. My name is Hong Yuntian. Let's have a match. If you win, the essence I collected from this big guy will be yours. If you lose, then you can leave this little girl behind. I think the sect master will like you very much. Hong Yuntian squinted his eyes and looked at Guopai. His gaze would occasionally look at Xiao Meng Meng. Daughter, I will suppress this person's strength to the same level as yours. Go and spar with him. There are some things that you have to face on your own. Perhaps what you said is right. He killed your good friend. You have to avenge this grudge yourself, Guopai said. His gaze fell on Hong Yuntian. The power of space caused Hong Yuntian's expression to suddenly change. Not good. How can this young man be so powerful? Yunju and the others are lying. This guy has at least reached the gold core realm. I am not his opponent at all. Hong Yuntian secretly shouted in his heart. He turned around and prepared to escape. However, under the effect of Guopai's power of space, Hong Yuntian was firmly nailed in midair. Meng Meng, he is now in the same realm as you. In terms of fighting experience, you are not his opponent. However, you can use the magic treasures on your body at will. I will not interfere. If you lose, the price may even be death, Guopao said coldly. He suddenly thought of his daughter back then. That daughter of his when she was 831 years old. Perhaps his method of education was really wrong. Friend, are you really going to let your daughter fight with me? You won't interfere? Hong Yuntian heard the conversation between Guopai and Xiao Meng Meng. It was as if he had caught a life-saving straw. If he could capture this little girl and threaten this powerful enemy, he might still have a chance to live. If you can win against her, I don't want your life, Guopai coldly said. The matter of that year was still vivid in his mind. Xiao Meng Meng, another daughter of his in the mortal world. Was his education right? Guopai's heart suddenly became chaotic. Then, he calmed down. Sometimes, it was not necessarily a good thing for parents to pave the way. Guopai's gaze fell on Xiao Mengmeng. Little sister, I know this time I should not have hurt your friend. However, the matter has already happened. Today's fight is also forced. Therefore, this time I must win. Hong Yuntian finished speaking and directly rushed towards Guomengmeng. The little girl seemed as if she did not feel the incoming danger. She was still staring at Hong Yuntian, who was rushing towards her. Guopai looked at Xiao Mengmeng's appearance and could not help but frown. If Xiao Mengmeng did not dodge, he was afraid that she would be captured by this guy. Little sister, sorry to offend you. With that, Hong Yuntian's hand fiercely moved towards Xiao Mengmeng's neck. Guopai clenched his fist. Little girl, don't let me down. Where is she? Just at the moment when Hong Yuntian grabbed Xiao Meng's throat, Xiao Mengmeng disappeared from her previous position. Something even more inconceivable happened. Hong Yuntian looked at the short sword that was inserted into his chest with a face of disbelief. Guopai also opened his eyes wide. The weak are prey to the strong. The strong are respected. A life for a life. You killed my good friend. I will kill you. If you have descendants who want to take revenge, just come and find me. Xiao Mengmeng said expressionlessly. The short sword pierced through Hong Yuntian's heart. Hong Yuntian did not die immediately. Following that, Xiao Meng pulled out the short sword in her hand and directly inserted it into Hong Yuntian's heart. Without pulling out the sword, she turned around and flew towards Guopai. Daddy, I have taken revenge. I want to go home. Xiao Mengmeng said with a pale face. After doing those things just now, her right hand began to tremble uncontrollably. Guopai shook his head and then nodded. With a wave of his hand, the taboo that was set up disappeared. Hong Yuntian's corpse fell beside the bed. A group of passing fishes directly brought Hong Yuntian's corpse to the bottom of the sea along with Xiao Mengmeng's good quality flying sword. Guopai brought Xiao Mengmeng and sped on the surface of the sea. The rising sea water soaked Xiao Mengmeng's clothes. The bloodstains on her body disappeared little by little. Until Guopai brought Xiao Mengmeng out of the South Sea, the two of them rushed towards the imperial capital. Daddy, I just killed someone. Just like what little mommy said in the past, there are good people and bad people in the world. I killed a bad person. He was not an animal, he was a human. Xiao Mengmeng said with a dull look. I killed someone. I am also a bad person, right? Someone will kill me in the future. Little girl, killing a bad person is to save more good people. What you did was not wrong. Besides, you also know that if you did not kill him, he would hurt you and even use you to threaten Daddy. When you go back, your little mommy will tell you who is right and who is wrong. From Daddy's point of view, you are not wrong. Guopai said softly. He knew that it was useless to say anything now because Xiao Mengmeng in front of him was just a little girl who had just turned 6 years old. Kind little girl. After 10 minutes, they returned to Bugyaku. Guopai ignored the strange expressions of the group of people and carried Xiao Mengmeng into Yu-Er's room. Yu-Er, who had already woken up, suddenly opened her eyes wide. Bastard, Guopai, what did you do with Xiao Mengmeng? You bastard! Yu-Er immediately felt the aura of karma on Xiao Mengmeng's body. At such a young age, there was only one reason for Xiao Mengmeng to be tainted with karma. She had killed someone. No matter if it was a good person or a bad person, they would be entangled with karma. Chapter 564. First, help the little girl get rid of the disgusting karma and put it directly on me. Then, I'll leave the matter of educating the little girl to you. Don't call me a bastard. You can't get away from this matter. After Guopai finished speaking, he sat at the table next to him and drank tea. Yu-Er pulled little Mengmeng into the house. After about 2 hours, she pulled little Mengmeng out of the house again. A cyan gold core appeared in little Mengmeng's dantian. Little Mengmeng had broken through to the Shudan realm. Dad, I'm going to find Mom. You can go and make me something delicious. Hee hee, Dad is the best, the little girl said with a smile. Guopai nodded and then watched Yuer walk out of the house with a tired face. You really took the little girl to kill people. In the future, you have to do the education by yourself. I'm so tired, Yuer said loudly to Guopai. Hee hee, little Yuer, you can't get away from the matter of little Meng Meng killing people. However, your husband is not as good as you in educating people. In the future, when we have children, the work of educating children will be handed over to you, Guopai said as he hugged Yuer. Then, Yuer broke away and Guopai went to make food for little Meng Meng. Fourth brother, where is fourth brother? Guopai and his family had just finished lunch, and had not had time to clean up the table. Jia Yuan ran to the backyard with sweat all over his forehead and directly called a few disciples of the Gu family who were cleaning up the table. He picked up his chopsticks and began to eat the leftovers on the table. Hee hee, Brother Yuan, what are you doing? If you haven't eaten, ask Uncle Zhou to make some food for you. Yu looked at Jia Yuan, who was eating in big mouthfuls, and asked softly. Hee hee, Yu, go and call fourth brother here. Tell him that he has finished the task he gave me and ask him to bring some wine. Jia Yuan swallowed the food in his mouth and said to Yu. Second uncle, I haven't seen you for a long time. Why are you eating leftovers at my house? Little Meng Meng has candy. Here. After little Meng finished eating, she pulled Tang Shi and Xiao Yezi out of the house. She happened to see Jia Yuan eating the leftovers and trotted all the way to him. Girl, when I'm done with my business, I'll take you to the new amusement park in the capital to play. It'll be fun. Jia Yuan put down his chopsticks. Regardless of the grease on his hands, he was about to hug little Meng Meng. Meng Meng, let your second uncle eat first. Let's go out for a walk. As he spoke, he seemed to be afraid that Meng Meng would be led astray by Jia Yuan, so he took the little girl and left as if he was escaping. F***ck, this brother is a good person, a very good person. I'm much better than the men in your family. At least this brother is loyal. Jia Yuan looked at Tang Shi and little Yizi's expressions as if they were guarding against a thief, and couldn't help but say, Second brother, what are you talking about? You're much better than anyone else. Guopao said and threw the wine gourd to Jia Yuan. Jia Yuan didn't say anything and started drinking. Hee hee, it's delicious. This wine is delicious whenever I drink it. I can't get tired of it. Jia Yuan licked his lips and said. Guopai didn't say much. He watched his second brother sweep the leftovers on the table. This time, even if Gu Wankai wanted to eat some leftovers, there was no leftovers. Fourth brother, let's go inside and talk. Do you still have the good tea from that day? Get some for me. Jia Yuan said with a smile and walked into the living room. Guopai smiled and boiled the water. Then, a burst of tea fragrance came out from the teapot. Jia Yuan took a few mouthfuls and then took out his notebook from his bag with a serious face. Fourth brother, you are so generous. I admire you for this. You are generous in everything you do. You said you would open a medical center and you are ready to open 500 of them. Jia Yuan turned on the computer and muttered. I have found all the first-tier cities in Huaxia and most of the second-tier cities for you. Take a look. Jia Yuan said and took out a small device from his bag. One by one, 3D images appeared in front of Guopai. According to your idea, Takashi University and Wu Castle Chinese Medicine Association will set up a specialist clinic in Bugyaku. The second Bugyaku in Wu Castle is here. Jia Yuan said with a smile. They spent more than 2 hours. Except for a few locations and houses, Guopai was not satisfied with the other 490 places. Guopai was very satisfied with them. Brother Yuan, you have to hurry up with the decoration. It is unrealistic to want it to be like Bugyaku in Beijing and Wu Castle. But try to decorate it as well as possible. We are not short of money. Guopai said with a smile. Don't worry. In 1 week at most, 500 Bugyaku will open at the same time. At that time, it will definitely be an exciting thing. Jia Yuan said with a longing look. 533. In the United States, Italy, Germany, France, and Sweden, 33 Bugyaku will open at the same time. Guo Pai said softly. Brother Yuan, do you still remember the four of us 10 years ago? Apart from Brother Xing, there is one more thing. You make money with your brain, while Brother Yao and I are hooligans every day. Can you imagine that we will be like this today? Guo Pai asked with a smile. Hey, fourth brother, to be honest, sometimes I really think you are possessed by an immortal in heaven. I can only use one word to describe what you have done these years. Awesome. Jia Yuan said with a smile. The two of them talked about some things in Bugyaku. Suddenly, Jia Yuan remembered that he would accompany his wife to go shopping this afternoon. He asked Guo Pai for a hangover medicine and ran out of Bugyaku quickly. Then he drove to the busiest street in the capital. Sister Chang'e, the Jade Emperor, Hongjun ancestor, the powerful figures in the world of Buddhism, and all the gods in the heavenly court who have their own plans. No matter who is playing chess, I will do what I should do in the human world. If I can really go back to the heaven realm in the future, no one can share the merits in the human world. Guo Pai narrowed his eyes and thought to himself, Haha, Wu Gang, look at the expression of the mind-reading Immortal. He looks like a villain who has achieved success. Who cares about the merits? There must be someone playing chess. I even let my personal maid be your wife. When you go back to the heaven realm, you have to come here to have a look. Fairy Chang'e said with a complacent face. If you want to have a look, come here openly. Don't peep. Wu Gang said seriously. Then he suddenly felt a trace of coldness from head to toe, and then he flew backward for 10,000 meters. Wu Gang, you are quite open every day, Chang'e said with a smile. Wu Gang touched his head and thought, a thin-skinned woman really turns hostile. She is not as thick-skinned as us, but we turn hostile slowly. Of course, Guo Pai didn't know this. The opening of the shop in Bugyaku would take 7 days. It was time to have a good talk with the Chinese medicine practitioners from the Medicine Devil Island. After all, he had a good harvest from the Medicine Devil Island this time. Lingling, Weiwei, follow me to Liaogang tomorrow. In the afternoon, seeing several girls coming back from outside, Guo Pai directly called Sun Lingling and Murong Weiwei and said with a smile, Brother Bad Guy, Master Yufeng will come in the evening. He said that he brought a relative to you. Don't run around at night. Murong Weiwei said with a smile. Guo Pai nodded. The relative of the master, it was more or less related to him. Guo Pai directly asked Zhou Tianyang to prepare more food in the evening. Master Yufeng was not an outsider, so he could entertain him at home. Before dinner, Guo Pai played with Meng Meng for a while. Then Master Yufeng came in from outside. Meng Meng ran to the master happily and took his hand to walk into the room. Little Bad, your sect and my Qin family are predestined. At the beginning of this year, I accepted another disciple, who is also a descendant of my Qin family. I brought him to you. Sister's descendant. Chapter 565. A delicate-looking young man, about 15 or 16 years old, stood in front of Guo Pai and looked up at Guo Pai with a hint of immaturity. What's your name? Guo Pai asked with a smile. Chen Nian, East Chen, Nian as in missing. The young man said softly. He had heard Guo Pai's name from many people. His master had also mentioned this name more than once. Seeing Guo Pai today, Chen Nian was a little nervous. His surname is also Chen. Haha, that's right. When my sister got married, she did marry someone from the Chen family village. However, I left the Chen family village later on. When I returned, everything had changed. Guo Pai thought to himself, Master, little Nian, let's go into the house first. We can talk slowly. Guo Pai was stunned for a moment before inviting the two into the house. After Chen Nian entered the house, Everything in the house was a little strange. However, after a while, the young man calmed down and stood behind Master Yufeng with a relaxed expression. Guopai nodded with a smile. This young man's performance was not bad. He was able to adapt to a new environment in a short time. His performance was not bad. We still have to wait for a while to eat. Master, we haven't seen each other for a while. Can you write some words for the juniors to learn? Guopai said with a smile. Master Yufeng also smiled and nodded. Guopai called the two of them to the house beside the living room. Master! Yun'er saw Guopai enter and put down the brush in her hand with excitement. She then nodded at Master Yufeng, who was beside Guopai. That's right. After Yun'er's soul returned to her body, she had been staying in Bugyaku. Guopai did not give Yun'er anything. He wrote a piece of calligraphy and gave it to Yun'er. She wrote it twice a day, once in the morning and once in the afternoon. In the beginning, Yun'er came out of the house in 3 to 5 minutes. Until now, Yun'er needed more than 3 hours to write once. When Guopai and the others entered the study room, Yun'er had just finished writing the 4 words. The ink was still wet. Indifferent to honor and disgrace, what a good indifferent to honor and disgrace. Little rascal, where did you find such a monstrous little fellow? If an ordinary person wants to write such an artistic conception, they would not be able to write it without dozens of years of foundation. Master Yufeng said excitedly. Yun'er used to be the disciple of Taoist Bu-er. He had some injuries that I healed for him. Recently, he has been learning calligraphy from me. Recently, I have been paying less attention to his studies. However, Yun'er seems to be learning quite well himself, Guopai said with a smile. Nian'er, go and write a few words for Little Bad and this little friend to read. Master Yufeng nodded and smiled at Chen Nian. Chen Nian nodded and walked to the front of the desk. Yun'er smiled at Chen Nian and helped him lay out the paper. Thank you. Chen Nian said softly to Yun'er. Then, he continued to ink. His movements were not fast, and his rhythm was neither rushed nor messy. Guopai looked at Imperial Wind and nodded with a smile. Little Bad, Little Bad. It was the same 4 words. However, it was completely different from Yun'er's 4 words. Yun'er was the closest to him. When he saw the 4 words, he could not help but give a thumbs up. This young man in front of him, who looked younger than him, had a good foundation in calligraphy. Master, since you are here, why don't you write some words for the juniors as well? Guopai said with a smile. Master Yufeng smiled and nodded. He walked to the front of the desk. Chen Nian laid out the paper and Yun'er started to ink. Since everyone is writing Little Bad, I will write these 4 words as well. Saying this, Master Yufeng picked up the brush and wrote the 4 words very quickly. After he finished writing, he nodded his head in satisfaction. Little Yun'er, take a good look at these 4 words. Practice a little more today. When it's time to eat, I will get someone to call you. Guopai looked at Master Yufeng's words and said with a smile. Little Bad, this is not right. I have finished writing at my age. Shouldn't you write a few words for Yun'er and Nian'er to learn? Master Yufeng said with a smile. Yun'er nodded while Chen Nian had a look of anticipation. 4 words is too much. I will write 1 word. Guopai said as he walked to the front of the desk. He did not wait for Yun'er and Chen Nian to prepare the paper and ink. He picked up the brush and wrote Little Bad on the paper. Then, he smiled and pulled Master Yufeng out of the study, leaving behind the 2 stunned youths. Don't look anymore. You won't be able to see anything. Let's go eat. After we eat, we will ask Master to give us some pointers. Yun'er said softly. Chen Nian nodded. Chen Nian reluctantly left the study. The 2 walked to the living room. The table was already filled with delicious food. Guopai was already drinking with Master Yufeng. Little Bad, it has been a while since I drank your wine. This time, I have a presumptuous request. Master Yufeng said softly. Since it is a descendant of the Chen family, Master does not need to worry. If Master is unable to take care of little Nian in the future, he can come to me. However, Master does not need to worry. According to fate, Master should be able to live for another 34 years without any problems. Guopai said with a smile. I hope it is as you say, Master Yufeng said softly. However, since Nian came to Wu Castle, I have a feeling that something is going to happen. Otherwise, I would not be in such a hurry to find you. Master does not need to worry. Nothing will fall on you. You can stay in the capital for the next few days. The few elders are also in the capital. You can have a good gathering, Guopai said. Master Yufeng nodded. During the dinner, Guopai and Master Yufeng did not eat too much. However, the few juniors ate a lot. Words are born from the heart. The two of you are very talented. To put it bluntly, practicing words is practicing your heart. Go out and walk more. Don't stay in the same place all the time. I believe that in less than 100 years you will achieve something. Guopai said with a smile. Little Lingma, when you see the master, you don't hurry over. Where do you want to run? You run around every day. You don't look like a girl at all. Guopao stopped Nangong Lingma, who was about to run away as soon as he appeared. Greetings, master. The little girl walked quickly to Master Yufeng's side and said softly. The 16-year-old little Lingma had already grown into a big girl. It was just that her state of mind could not settle down. Guopai had said a few times. Because little Lingma and Guopai had known each other for a long time, she did not care if she listened to Guopai's words. Guopai could not do anything to her. Little girl, it has been a while since we last met. How are your studies? Master Yufeng asked with a smile. It is still the same. My calligraphy is not as good as Yun'er. However, when it comes to fighting, they are not my match. Little Lingma said with a smile. Guopai's face was filled with black lines. The surrounding people laughed. 7 days later, Bugyaku will open for business all over the world. After the matters in Bugyaku are settled, I will bring these juniors out for a walk. There is not much time left. Guopai said with a smile. Yun'er's face was filled with excitement. Little Lingma also laughed. The few youngsters stayed in the study with Master Yufeng for a while. When Master Yufeng went to rest, Guopai called Nian to the side. How is Qinghai's Qin family now? Guopai asked softly. After ascending to the heaven realm, the heavenly Tao had changed. There were many things in the Qin family that he had no right to interfere with. However, it was not difficult to help the Qin family rise again. Even if he did not show up, with Master Yufeng's reputation, no one in Huaxia would dare to say anything. When I leave Qinghai to Wu Castle, there is no Qin family in Yushu. Chen Nian said with a hint of helplessness. Master said that our Qin family's ancestors were related to Bad Master. Qin family's decline has caused Bad Master to laugh. The world is unpredictable. After we are done with the matters in Bugyaku, I will return to Yushu with you. It is time for me to go back and take a look. Chapter 566. The next morning, Guopai left Bugyaku with Sun Ling Ling and Murong Weiwei after breakfast. The three of them drove directly to Liaogang City. Fourth brother, I'm now in Liaogang New Era. Come over directly. The doctors you brought back last time are all here. Guopai's car had just left the capital when he received a call from Jia Yuan. Jia Yuan had already arrived at Liaogang and was now waiting for Guopai. I can arrive at Liaogang this afternoon. I'll send you a list later. Prepare these things. Guopai hung up the phone after he finished speaking. Then, he sent a document that he had prepared in advance to Jia Yuan. Amazing! He directly got more than 30,000 green cards from Huaxia. To be able to get so many green cards in Huaxia at once, he is definitely the first person in Huaxia. Jia Yuan looked at the information that Guopai sent to him and couldn't help but exclaim loudly. Then, he looked at some of the materials that followed. The more he looked, the more surprised he became. The country was giving Guopai enough face by making such concessions. Bad guy brother, I read the proposal that you gave me yesterday. Are you really planning to open 500 medical centers in Huaxia at once? Are you sure about the quality of these people? Medical centers are not a small matter. You must be careful. Murong Weiwei whispered. Weiwei, don't worry. This time, I asked you and Ling Ling to go to Liaogang to let you see if this thing that your husband is doing this time is feasible. After this we should have our wedding and then have a child. I see that you all like Xiao Mengmeng very much. Our genes are so good, let's have a few more. Guopai spoke without thinking as he drove. The two women's faces turned red. Guopai couldn't help but laugh. Ling Ling, I didn't expect that you, the recognized strong woman in the capital, the big boss of the Great Doctors Limited Company, would be shy. Guopai couldn't help but tease. I didn't see you shy when you asked me to the hotel. Big bad guy, shut up. You're still talking. Sun Ling Ling looked at Murong Weiwei's smiling face and directly interrupted Guopai's words. If Guopai wasn't driving, Sun Ling Ling would have already attacked Guopai. In this way, the three of them chatted and laughed as they headed to Liaogang. At about 3 in the afternoon, the car entered Liaogang. Because it was a coastal city, the economic level wasn't low. It was the first time that Murong Weiwei and Sun Ling Ling came here. And they looked at the scenery outside the car. Don't look anymore. After I'm done with the medical center, I'll take you guys around Liaogang. Guopai said with a smile. The two women smiled and nodded. The car had already stopped in front of Liaogang New Era. Liaogang New Era was the largest export company in Liaogang. What made the secretary of Liaogang City helpless was that New Era suddenly had a holiday. All the employees of New Era had an indefinite holiday. Secretary Chen, don't worry. In a week at most, our New Era will reopen. Don't worry, you know the strength of our medical source international. Don't worry, we don't have any conflicts with the great doctors. After we finish this period of work, I'll treat Secretary Chen to a meal. That's all. Guopai was directly led by a few employees of New Era to Jia Yuan's office. He heard Jia Yuan talking into the phone with a smile. Damn, isn't it just a delay in GDP? Is there a need to be so nervous? Jia Yuan hung up the phone and said loudly. Then, he saw Guopai and the other two. Xiaoru, go and arrange dinner today. Ask the people at the port to send some fresh seafood. I'll treat my brother and sister-in-law to a meal. Jia Yuan smiled and said to the employee who led Guopai to the office. Second brother Yuan, when we came from the capital, Sister Yutong told us to check if you've hooked up with a female employee of New Era. I think that Xiaoru looks good. Don't make a mistake. Sun Ling Ling looked at Jia Yuan and said jokingly. Sister-in-law, you can't talk nonsense. Do you think I want to come to Liaogang? Isn't it because of your husband? This time, I'm here for business. Xiaoru is an employee of New Era. If she looks similar to the two of you, I might make a mistake. But with her appearance, I won't make a mistake. Jia Yuan explained excitedly. Guopai patted Jia Yuan. The business was more important. More than 30,000 Chinese medicine doctors were arranged to stay in the New Era building. After entering the New Era, their freedom was directly restricted. None of them dared to complain. Of course, when they left Medicine Devil Island, they had an agreement with Guopai first. But after a long time, they couldn't guarantee that these people wouldn't have any feelings. Ling Ling, Weiwei, you two look at these documents first. Second brother and I will go and see those Chinese medicine doctors. Guopai said with a smile. The two girls nodded. Guopai and Jia Yuan walked out of the office. According to what you said before, we separated them. It's not easy to manage these people. Jia Yuan said softly to Guopai. Let's go. I have an idea. Guopai said with a smile. The two of them walked straight to the first big meeting room. 500 people sat in the meeting room. Some were excited, some were nervous, some were bored, and some were bored. Anyway, everyone was busy with their own things until they saw Guopai walk in. Everyone, I've made you wait for a long time. I think you must be bored in the new era building, Guopai said with a smile. Everyone nodded. When we left Medicine Devil Island, you promised to listen to me because I saved you. I believe that you are not ungrateful. This is the basis of our cooperation, Guopai said with a smile. Everyone had different expressions. Guopai looked at everyone and a smile appeared on his face. Then, the people below suddenly quieted down. The Chinese medicine doctors who were originally thinking of something suddenly felt their hearts tighten. This young man in front of them was not an ordinary person. He dared to challenge the witch on Medicine Devil Island. If they dared to say no, this young man might even kill them. A good start. This is the beginning of cooperation. Now I can continue talking to everyone, Guopai said with a smile. In the past 2 days, I believe everyone has roughly understood the current situation in Huaxia. That's right, Huaxia is completely different from when you guys were back then. I have some information about you guys here. I'll give it to you now, Guopai said. Although he only waved his hand, the current situation of their families appeared in everyone's mind. After about 10 minutes, the crowd below the stage became lively again. Little you, is what you said true? Our chief family actually. An old man shook his head helplessly and stood aside without saying anything. Many people had the same surname as Chi. Guopai could let them know the current situation of their families. This group of people also understood how powerful this young man in front of them was in Huaxia. Little you, what do you want us to do? Tell us. Since we agreed to follow your arrangements after we left the Herb Mountain, we'll do what we said. An old man walked out from the crowd and said softly. Many people nodded in agreement. I want to open a medical center in the imperial capital. I need 500 owners. I'd like to let you guys handle it for a while, Guopai said with a smile. You want to open 500 medical centers? Little you, 500 medical centers can't be opened just because you want to. They have to be Chinese medical centers. The old man who spoke just now looked at Guopai and said softly. Old master, it's indeed 500 medical centers. You guys can take a look, Jia Yuan said with a smile. He directly turned on the electronic device in his hand. The plan of 500 medical centers and the detailed address appeared in the conference room. Behind it were the places where the 500 Chinese medical centers would go. Izhou, Mr. Guopai. If I agree to be the owner of this medical center, can I go back to my hometown in Izhou? Is what's written on it true? A middle-aged man couldn't help but stand up and ask. 23 years ago, he left his hometown and mistakenly entered Medicine Devil Island when he was young and frivolous. He didn't expect that he still had hope of going home. Chapter 567. Guopai didn't say anything. When the 500 Chinese doctors finished reading all the materials released by Jia Yuan, some of them even burst into tears. They had left home when they were young, but their accent was still the same. Among these people, the one who had left home at least 20 years ago. How many 20 years could a person have? Let me introduce myself again. My name is Guopai, the owner of Bugyaku. I have opened medical centers in the capital and Wu Castle. I believe that from the materials I gave you yesterday, you know more or less about me and my medical centers. I want you to be the owner of my medical centers, not to make money, but for another thing. Maybe you have thought about it before, but with the passage of time, you have gradually given up. Guopai stood on the stage and said loudly. The people below the stage all looked at the young man in front of them. Yesterday, each of them had received a piece of information about Guopao. Opening a clinic, refining elixirs, curing the plague, all of which had surprised these old Chinese doctors who were originally arrogant. When he said that he wanted to open 500 clinics, it was definitely not a casual remark. However, these people could not figure out what he meant by asking them to be the owners of the clinic. Chinese medicine, promote Chinese medicine. I want you to work with me to make Chinese medicine, which has been a bit down, popular again. Guo Pai said softly. His voice was not loud, but the 500 Chinese doctors trembled at the same time. Wasn't it their dream to promote Chinese medicine once upon a time? I will provide the medical centers and herbs. You don't have to worry about anything. The quality of all the herbs may not be as good as those on the medicine island, but they are absolutely authentic. I only need you to devote yourself to Chinese medicine, improve your medical skills, and save people. Guo Pai continued. As soon as his voice fell, a strong power of merit entered his body. He recognized that he didn't choose the wrong people. He was very satisfied with the performance of the 500 Chinese doctors in front of him. Little brother, I'm 66 years old this year. I don't know how long I can last, but I can promise that I will be at your service as long as I live. An old man stood out and said softly, We will be at your service as long as we live. The others followed suit and said loudly. To them, traditional Chinese medicine was their dream. Originally, they thought that their dream had been shattered, but now, Guo Pai had given them new hope. Even if Guo Pai really asked them to die now, they would definitely not refuse. I won't interfere with any of your business when the new medical centers open. If there are any difficult cases that you can't handle, you can directly send them to the imperial capital. I'll think of a way. Bugyaku doesn't do business for profit. I'll give you 3 million yuan every year for each medical center. As for the helpers, you can choose them yourself. Each medical center will be temporarily assigned 20 people, Guo Pai said with a smile. Little brother, do you mean to select employees from the other people on the medicine island? The old man who stood out first asked softly. Then, a happy expression appeared on his face. He was completely independent. Such a medical center was what he wanted to open in the past, but for various reasons, he didn't manage to do it. He didn't expect to realize it today. Guo Pai told the Chinese doctors in front of him a few more things. Brainwashing, not exactly brainwashing. If they wanted to brainwash, Guo Pai had a simpler way. Guo Pai was very satisfied with the effect now. Then, he led the 500 Chinese doctors to other places in the new era building. Jia Yuan divided the remaining Chinese doctors into 6 halls according to Guo Pai's request. According to the geographical location of Huaxia, 5,000 people would be in one hall. Fortunately, Jia Yuan's new era building was big enough. Otherwise, it would be difficult to arrange. However, even if there were about 5,000 people in each hall, it still made many people feel crowded. In addition, after staying here for a few days, although there was food and drink, it made them feel depressed. Brother Chen, what do you think that young man wants us to do after rescuing us from the medicine island? A middle-aged man asked a familiar middle-aged man in front of him softly. Who knows? We only know some medical skills. We can't do anything else. To be able to get out of that damn place, I only have one wish now. Let me go home and have a look. Even if I die, it's worth it, Chen Qiansong said softly. Many people around him nodded. I regret coming out now. We've stayed here for so long and can't adapt to the outside world. Now we're like animals. Isn't it the same as being on the medicine island? After a man finished speaking, the door of the large conference room opened. All the people in the room were doctors from the 7 cities in the north of Huaxia. The Chinese doctors that Guo Pai led into the room were also the temporary owners who were going to open medical centers in the 7 cities. Lao Lu, here you are. What have you been doing? I thought something happened to you, an acquaintance in the room said loudly when he saw the doctors that Guo Pai led in. Quiet down. I've gotten everyone out of the medicine island for a few days. I don't know if anyone has anything to say? Guo Pai asked with a smile. Little brother, I don't know what you want us to do, but it's not good to waste our time like this. If you want to kill us or cut us up, just say the word. Don't be like this, a middle-aged man said with a hint of helplessness. Young man, to be honest, I just want to go home. If you let me go back, my life will be yours in the future, an old man said softly. You're all too serious. I have to arrange things outside before I can come to see everyone, Guo Pai said with a smile. I'm going to open a medical center in Huaxia. I need some talents. Uncle Lu and the doctors behind you are the people that I found to be the owners of the medical centers. Now, each medical center needs to be staffed with 20 people. I need to choose some of you to help. Humph, I knew you didn't have good intentions when you got us out. You'd better get me back. I don't want to be your assistant, a middle-aged man said loudly. A few people around him nodded. Meng Lin, do you think your medical skills are very good? Are you not willing to be my assistant? Guo Pai frowned and asked softly. Meng Lin, don't dare to say that my medical skills are very good, but compared to the people behind you, they are definitely better. Meng Lin said loudly. The doctors behind him didn't say anything. 2 of them knew Meng Lin. They had entered the Medicine Devil Island with Meng Lin. Before they entered, Meng Lin's medical skills were indeed better than theirs. What about medical ethics? Guo Pai narrowed his eyes and asked, Let the doctors I've chosen choose the people they need first. How good can medical skills be? Can they bring the dead back to life? Medical skills aren't everything. Dr. Meng might not be able to be chosen by the owners. Some of you know the people below the stage, and some of you don't. You can ask them some questions. I'll give you an hour to choose the people you need, Guo Pai said to the people behind him with a smile. They nodded and walked into the crowd. There were more than 50 doctors. Each of them had their own way of choosing. In about half an hour, most of them had chosen the people they wanted. Although you've been chosen by them, you still have a chance to choose someone else. If you don't want to go with them, you can go back, Guo Pai said with a smile. More than 10 people returned to the crowd. Li Shuren, Zhou Hao, Dr. Qin, Zhang Yunshan. After more than 10 people left, Guo Pai looked at the people below the stage and called more than 10 people up. They were directly behind the doctors who had fewer people. After the first batch of doctors were chosen, Guo Pai looked at the group of people who were not chosen. He nodded and then shook his head. Kid, what are you trying to do? Meng Lin couldn't help but ask. Second brother, tell them according to the plan. I'll take the others to the other meeting rooms to choose people, Guo Pai said softly. Jia Yuan nodded. I don't want to talk too much with you. We have all your files before you were trapped in Herb Mountain. We've done a comprehensive evaluation of your medical skills and character. The people who are chosen this time will work in the medical centers in the 7 cities in Huaxia. As for you, you still have a chance when the medical centers open in the future. Some of you won't have a chance. There are a few Chinese medicine cultivation bases in Huaxia. I'll send you there later, Jia Yuan said loudly without explaining too much. Humph, I don't believe that Guo Pai has the ability to open so many medical centers at once, Meng Lin said loudly. See for yourself. I hope you'll be chosen when the medical centers open again. Jia Yuan shook his head and projected Guo Pai's information and Bagyaku's plan in the meeting room. About half an hour later, the meeting room was in chaos again. Chapter 568. Guo Pao led the group of hall masters that he had chosen to run to the meeting rooms one by one. The situation in each meeting room was similar to that of the first one. It was not until after midnight that the 500 hall masters had chosen their respective staff members. Guo Pao then arranged for vehicles to transport these people to their respective medical centers that were about to be renovated. Lao Si, I'm so tired. Wine, give me a few sips. The last pre-prepared bus drove away from the gate of New Era. Jia Yuan squatted on the ground. Even though he was already at the peak of the enlightening stage, he was still exhausted and sat on the ground. The personnel problem in Bugyaku has been solved. There are still a few capable people among these people. It's a waste that they don't work for me, Guopai said with a smile. He ignored Jia Yuan and walked to the meeting room again. Little brother, I'm Wu Xian. I'm proficient in acupuncture. I don't know if there are any medical centers that need people. I want to help. A middle-aged man in his 50s watched Guopai walk into the meeting room and couldn't help but speak loudly. Then a group of people echoed, "If you hadn't left after that medical accident, I would have given you the position of dojo master. However, you left Feng County overnight. Don't you feel any guilt after all these years?" Guopao looked at Wu Xian and said softly. Wu Xian squatted down on the ground. Everything had a cause and effect. Initially, he thought that everything was over after he came out this time. However, he was wrong. After about 10 minutes, Wu Xian stood up again and looked at Guopai solemnly and said, "Little brother, let me out. I want to see how the descendant of the Li family is doing now. Let me go to the little guy's grave and burn an incense. Then, you can kill him or cut him up. It's all up to you. Go out and ask Jia Yuan, the person who was with me just now, for 300,000 Huaxia dollars. Then, ask him to find someone to take you to Feng County. After the matter is settled, you can go to the capital to find me. Everything has its cause and effect. If you are willing to turn back, you are worthy of my help." Guopai finished speaking. Wu Xian bowed deeply to Guopai and turned to walk out of the meeting room. Then Guopai selected another 4 people in the meeting room and went around several other meeting rooms. Finally, he selected 48 people and brought them to the top floor of New Era. This is the Medical Practitioner's Encyclopedia that I have compiled recently. It is a summary of the medical skills of the various schools of traditional Chinese medicine in Huaxia. The reason why I chose you is very simple. You can read this book together to see if there is anything you need to add. Also, you can learn something from it. As Guo Xiao spoke, the 49 printed copies of the Medical Practitioner's Encyclopedia were distributed to the 49 people. At first, the 49 people didn't take the book seriously. However, the group of people read for almost 10 minutes. The more they read, the more excited they became. An old man couldn't help but stand up and walk to Guopai excitedly while pointing at a page in the book. "Little brother, this is the lost part of the treatise on typhoid and miscellaneous diseases. Why is it here? How did you get it?" The old man said excitedly. "Mr. Zhang, it seems that your information is correct. You are the descendant of Zhang Zhongjing. Yes, this book does record the treatise on typhoid and miscellaneous diseases. I have made some changes to the content. However, as the descendant of Zhang Zhongjing, I think you should know more about the pharmacology than me. You can read it carefully and see if there is anything that needs to be added," Guopai said with a smile. "Little brother, I won't comment on the other contents of this book. Do you know the value of this complete version of the treatise on typhoid and miscellaneous diseases?" Zhang Yaoyin asked softly. "If medical skills can't be used by people and can't cure diseases and save people, then it is just a piece of waste paper. It is useless." Guopai said softly, "I know what you want to say. Since I let you study this book together, I have thought about some things. Let's go to hell with that *T sect view. Little you, accept Zhang Yaoyin's bow." Zhang Yaoyin said and bowed deeply to Guopai. Guopai reached out and pulled the old man up. Then, Zhang Yaoyin sat down again and began to study the contents of the book carefully. From morning to noon, Jia Yuan ran to the conference room on the top floor several times. However, Guopai drove him out. At this time, Jia Yuan didn't care about his brother anymore. He drove directly to a restaurant in Liaogang and ate heartily. "Little you, accept our bow." Until 8 o'clock in the evening, a group of 49 people who were at least 50 years old stood in a row and bowed to Guopai. Little friend, we have discussed it together just now. We have a presumptuous request. Although we are much older than you, the art of medicine is all about inheritance. The one who reaches the apex is the master. In the beginning, we were not convinced by you and were not convinced. But now we are convinced. We are sincerely convinced. We hope you can accept us as your disciples. We are willing to follow you for the rest of our lives, Zhang Yaoyin said with a serious face. The things in the book originally belonged to you. I just put them together. In the thousands of years of Chinese medicine history, many things have gradually lost their original appearance in the long river of history. Chinese medicine needs to be developed. I hope that you, the 500 medical hall masters and staff that I have chosen today, and those who have not been chosen by me, can work together to restore the glory of Chinese medicine, Guo Pai said softly. His voice was not loud, but the group of old men couldn't help but cry. Forget about acknowledging me as your master. You can stay here for the time being. If anyone wants to go home, you can go back and have a look. However, I hope that after you are done with your own things, you can come to the capital to find me to complete this book, Guo Pai said with a smile. The 49 people nodded. Let's go. Chinese medicine is broad and profound. Let's go eat first. After dinner, you can stay here or go home if you want. If you need anything, you can find my second brother. He will help you deal with the matter in front of you. Guo Pai said and gave the 49 people's Huaxia green card. In Huaxia, they had been missing for at least 10 years and needed an identity. Ahem, fourth brother, you can't blame me for not taking you with me. I called you a few times but you didn't come out. I'm eating outside. Jia Yuan received a call from Guo Pai and said to the phone with a smile. When you come back, pack some food and the food for the remaining 20,000 people. Don't forget, today is the 15th. I helped you to break through to the enlightening stage. You are already in your 30s, but you are still not as high as Xiao Mengmeng. It's embarrassing, Guo Pai said with a smile. Then, the sound of the phone falling to the ground could be heard. Hello, fourth brother, I'll go back now. I'll go back now. Wait for me in New Era. Jia Yuan was excited when he heard that he was going to break through. He had been stuck in the enlightening stage for a few years. This time, he finally had a chance to break through. How could he not be happy? Bad guy brother, you are finally done with your work. We have basically settled the opening of the Bugyaku overseas. Originally, there were not many doctors who knew Chinese medicine, but there were quite a few who were really capable. I believe that there won't be any problems with the opening of the medical centers overseas. Murong Weiwei said with a smile. Hee, I knew that it wouldn't be a problem to leave this matter to my two wives. I will reward you guys tonight. Guo Pai said and the two women's faces turned red. Damn it, Meng Meng is already so big and you are still not serious. Sun Ling Ling said softly, but you should also give us an explanation. When are you going to give us a perfect wedding? We will also have a baby. Hee, little Ling Ling, then let's have a baby. After saying that, Guo Pai directly carried the two women and stretched out his hands to set up a formation. The suite on the top floor of New Era played out primitive passion. Chapter 569. The next day, at 10 o'clock in the morning, Guo Shuai woke up with two women in each of his arms. The two women's faces were flushed red and they didn't get up. Guo Shuai smiled shamelessly and got up from the bed. He put on his clothes, closed the door and walked out of the room. Fourth brother, I've been waiting for you the whole night. You can't cheat your brother like this. Jia Yuan heard Guo Pai's door open and ran over from the room not far away. He looked at Guo Pai and said, It happened suddenly. I was busy the whole day yesterday and felt a little uncomfortable. If I rashly helped you raise your realm yesterday, there would be repercussions, so I rested for a day. The moon is full on the 16th of the 15th. Today, I'll help you raise your realm. Guo Pai said with a smile. Jia Yuan did not suspect anything. As long as he could raise his realm, a day or two of difference was nothing. Fourth brother, I've dealt with enough people in Bugyaku. But when are we going to bring the rest of them to the medicinal herb base? My work in New Century is a small matter, but we can't let these people stay here forever. Jia Yuan asked softly. I'll contact the military in a while. With so many people in our medicinal herb base, it's a little difficult to rely on Yuan International's resources alone. Let the military help. Give them all the green cards. They are all Chinese medicine practitioners and will have some pride in their hearts. It's better to let them go. If they don't want to go to the medicinal herb base, let them be. However, if they have to bear the consequences, they will have to bear the consequences. Guo Pai said a few words to Jia Yuan and walked out of the New Century building and drove to Liao Harbor. Liao Harbor was still bustling at 10 o'clock. Guo Pai parked his car and walked straight to the harbor. Along the way, there were sounds of fresh seafood being sold. Guo Pai walked directly to a middle-aged man and squatted down. Little brother, what are you looking for? They're all freshly fished up from the sea. The middle-aged man said with a smile. Although the man was missing an arm, it did not affect his enthusiasm. Qin Yuanyang? Guo Pai said softly. The middle-aged man raised his head and looked at Guo Pai again, revealing a mouth full of ugly teeth. Little brother, you know me? I haven't used the name Qin Yuanyang for a long time. Is there anything I can help you with? The middle-aged man asked softly. Nothing much. I heard a friend mention you when I was in the capital, so I came to see you. Guo Pai smiled and said, I can give you a new arm. How about going out with me in a few days? Little brother, I appreciate your kindness. It's been more than 10 years, and I'm used to having one arm. If little brother doesn't want to buy anything, please leave. Don't delay my business, Chen Yuanyang said softly. Little Nian came to find me with Master Yufeng. I will go to Jade Tree in a few days. Before I leave, I will come and find you. At that time, whether you go or not, I will help you fix an arm. My name is Guo Scoundrel. After Guo Pai finished speaking, he stood up and took a few small fish from Chen Yuanyang's stall before returning to his car. Xiao Nian also left the Chen family. Why? I have already taken the responsibility of that year. Why do I have to do this? Chen Yuanyang murmured. Then he tidied up the pile of seafood in front of him and handed it directly to a young man beside him. The young man took out $100 bill and happily accepted the things. Fourth brother, Brother Yao just called. The people from the military region will arrive in the afternoon. I have already told the doctors. More than 3,000 people are ready to go home. The others have agreed to go directly to the medicine area. There are more than 10 people who have something to tell you, Jia Yuan said with a smile when he saw Guo Pai come back. Then he grabbed the few small fish that had just been roasted in Guo Pai's hand and ate it with relish. Second brother, let's go. Take me to see those people. What do they want to tell me? Guo Pai said with a smile. The two walked into the New Era building again. Mr. Guo Pai, this map is for you. We accidentally got it in the Medicine Mountain. We are not giving it to you for anything. In terms of Chinese medicine, you have convinced us. We only hope to become a member of Bugyaku. If not, we can also go to the medicine base first, a middle-aged man said as he handed a piece of animal skin the size of A3 paper to Guo Pai. Second brother, your New Era is not small. Give me a few rooms in the New Era. These doctors can stay in the New Era. It can be regarded as a medical department set up by Bugyaku for your New Era, Guo Pai said with a smile. Jia Yuan nodded. The Chinese medicine doctors smiled excitedly. Guo Pai said a few words to Jia Yuan and walked straight out of the room. He squeezed the animal skin in his hand tightly. He really didn't expect that there were so many good things in the world. Bad guy brother, what are you holding in your hand? What are we eating for lunch? I'm hungry. Murong Weiwei looked at the happy Guopai and couldn't help but ask. Something interesting. Let's go eat first. After lunch, I will slowly tell you what it is. Guopai said with a smile and pulled the two girls out of the building. The three of them went to the food street of Liaogang. The two girls ate happily while Guopai paid the bill. After a while, the two girls ate happily. Guopai looked at the two girls and couldn't help but sigh. Maybe he didn't spend enough time with them. However, 100 years in the world seemed long, but it was just a blink of an eye for him. If he didn't work hard, how could he bring the girls back to the heavenly court? Guopai thought and couldn't help but put his hand on the animal skin again. Are you full? I will accompany you to walk around Liaogang. Although Liaogang is not as good as the imperial capital, the coastal cities have their own unique culture. After walking around the food street for more than an hour, Guopai drove the two girls around Liaogang. What surprised Murong Weiwei and Sun Lingling was that Guopai knew so much about Liaogang. Although they knew that their man was proficient in many things, Guopai's involvement in various cultures still surprised them. However, this was nothing to Guopai. Thinking about it, he was a star monarch who had been in charge of the heavenly book for nearly 10,000 years. One day in heaven was 1 year in the human world. The time in heaven was millions of years in the human world. What else did Guopai not know? Bad guy, why are you so good today? You are accompanying us to eat and shopping. Is there something wrong? The three of them strolled until the afternoon. Guopao drove the car to the seaside and found a secluded place to set up a bonfire. Guopao then went to the bottom of the sea to get some ingredients and started a barbecue by the seaside. Sun Lingling asked with a smile as she ate the grilled fish. Murong Weiwei kept nodding. Lingling, Weiwei, we have known each other for a few years. You have also been with me for a few years. I have been busy with my own things. This time, I feel that I don't care enough about you. However, I have my own difficulties. It will get better in the future. Guopai said with a smile. The two girls were indeed stunned. Bad guy brother, as long as you have us in your heart, it's fine. Although there are many things that we don't know about these years, we know that our husband is not only in Huaxia, but also in the human world. Sometimes, I really suspect that you are a god who has descended to the human world. Murong Weiwei said with slightly red eyes. Guopai hugged the two girls and looked at the turbulent sea. The human world was like this now. Other than there were some things that he couldn't tell other girls. However, in the blink of an eye, Guopai was relieved. In 100 years, someone used the human world's matters to play chess. Then, this young master will play chess with them. When the game is over, they have to give me an explanation. 3 days later, the world's Bugyaku will open together. After I am done with the medical center, I will bring you to Yushu. It's time to go back and take a look. Chapter 570. All the staff on Medicine Devil Island had been arranged properly, so Guopai had solved a big problem. Of course, he had also reaped a lot of benefit. Not to mention the merits that he had received from the Chinese medicine practitioners and the opening of the medical center. Just the animal skin that he had obtained in the end was enough to make Guopai happy for a while. The animal skin was just as the Chinese medicine practitioner had said. It was a map. To be precise, it was a treasure map. It was a treasure map that ordinary people would not understand, but to Guopao, it was an absolutely valuable item. After returning to the imperial capital from Liaogang, Guopao began to plan the opening of the non-medical clinics all over the world. At the same time, he began to study the content on the animal skin. Even little Meng, who had been pestering him, knew that her father was busy with business. Recently, she began to fool around with little Ling Mo in the imperial capital. Big brother bad guy, what are you looking at? You are so engrossed that you didn't even notice that I came in. In the backyard of Bugyaku in the capital, Guopai had set up a restriction outside the room, but you still managed to get in easily. Hee, my dear wife, you came at the right time. Come and take a look at this animal skin. Do you want to take a look around? Guapai smiled as he handed the animal skin map to Yu. Yu took the animal skin. The moment her fingers touched the animal skin, her eyes widened and she looked at Guapai in disbelief. Big brother bad guy, where did you get this? Yu asked softly as her eyes fell on the map again. I got it by chance. This beast's skin should be the skin of the divine beast of the 9 heavens. The destination of this map should be the mansion of the mighty person in the heavens. I remember that there was a record in the tomes of heaven that the 9 heavens Yuan sage last appeared in the heaven realm. He took the skin of the divine beast of the 9 heavens and recorded the location of the 9 heavens treasure. Could it be in the human world? Guapai said softly. I know the divine beast of the 9 heavens. This beast's skin is definitely his. Even if it doesn't record the 9 heavens treasure, as long as we can return to the heaven realm and return this beast's skin to the divine beast, it should be able to help you become a god in the human world, Yu said with a smile. Guapai also laughed. However, he still had to rely on Yu. Although he had read countless tomes of arcane, he could not fully understand the words and special symbols on the map. However, Yu, who was a great sorcerer, easily understood the meaning of the map. Big brother bad guy, do you want to know the final location marked on this map? If it were me, I wouldn't go. If something happened, I would lose everything. Yu said with a smile, keep this thing well and return it to the divine beast. It's definitely a win-win situation. There's no risk. Guapai looked at Yu, who was looking at him with a smile. He reached out to take the beast's skin and laughed as well. You my wife, do you think I should go or not? Guapai asked with a smile. With your restless personality, how can you not go? Yu said with a smile, the final location marked on this map is Bermuda. You should know this place, right? No wonder so many things have happened over the years. It seems like it has something to do with the 9 heavens treasure. Yu knows me best, but I won't go for now. I'm going to take you guys to Jade Tree. After so many years, it's time to go and take a look. If we can find the place of our ancestors, we should burn some paper money and burn some incense. Guapai said softly. Yu nodded. Then, Guapai put away the beast's skin. Since he had a plan, he was going to inform his woman and go to the Chen family village together. The news that Guapai was going to Jade Tree spread quickly in Bugyaku. During this time, Master Yufeng made a call and prepared to go back with him. Guapai naturally agreed. After all, Master Yufeng was a descendant of the Chen family. It was natural for him to go back. His 3 sworn brothers all asked to go with him. The 3rd prince, who had been in the capital for many years, also wanted to go. Guotong Yuan naturally wanted to go to the legendary Chen family village to take a look. After counting the number of people, there were actually more than 30 people. However, there was still an important matter that needed to be resolved. Huaxia's 500 medical centers and 36 overseas medical centers opened at the same time. It was definitely a big event that would shake the world. 8 p.m., Huaxia's news broadcast. Guapai, Sun Lingling, Jia Yuan, and Lin Yutong appeared in front of the camera in formal attire. In the evening's prime time, the original hot drama that was going to be broadcasted was postponed indefinitely. No one raised any objections, because the opening of 500 Bugyaku's medical centers all over the country at the same time was 1,000,000 times more important than any hot drama. Mr. Guapai, this should be the 2nd time we meet. Yang Dan said with a smile. We haven't seen each other for a few years, but Mr. Gua hasn't changed at all. Sister Yang hasn't changed much either. You and Brother Wei Jing shouldn't have any secret relationship. It's already the age where men should get married and women should get married. Why are you guys holding back? Hurry up and get married. I'll give you guys a big gift. Guapai said with a smile. The hundreds of millions of viewers in front of the TV were stunned. The national idol was amazing. It was fine if he didn't speak, but once he spoke, he made such a big news. It turned out that the rumors about Ouyang Dan and Wei Jing's relationship were true. Ahem, the matter between Wei Jing and me is not the focus today. Let's talk about the opening of Huaxia's medical centers in Bugyaku first. It's said on the internet that 500 medical centers will open at the same time. I don't know if this is true or not. Ouyang Dan asked with a slightly red face. Then, Sister Ouyang, do you want this matter to be true or not? Guo Pai asked with a hint of ridicule. Wu Castle's Bugyaku and Beijing's Bugyaku's contributions to Huaxia are obvious to all, especially the plague incident a few years ago. If it weren't for Mr. Guo and the doctors in Bugyaku, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Of course, I personally hope that Huaxia has more Bugyaku, Ouyang Dan said with a smile. Guo Pai nodded with a smile. Then, he stood up and nodded to Jia Yuan. Jia Yuan linked the video data that he had prepared in advance to the device. This time, Bugyaku cooperated with the famous doctors and Yuan International to open 533 medical centers across the country. Among them, there will be 500 medical centers in Huaxia and 33 overseas. It's not a rumor on the internet. The truth is that 533 medical centers in Bugyaku will open at the same time tomorrow, Guo Pai said with a smile. Now, many netizens on the internet have raised some questions. Mr. Guo Pai, can you answer them for us? Ouyang Dan said with a smile. Sure, Big Sister Ouyang seems to have set up a Hongmen banquet. Guo Scoundrel will accept it. Guo Scoundrel said with a smile. Ouyang Dan didn't say much either. She took the card in her hand and looked at it. Mr. Guo, some netizens asked if the quality of the medical staff can be guaranteed if 500 medical centers are opened at the same time. How big of a difference will there be between the medical skills of the new medical centers and the medical centers in the capital and Wu Castle? Ouyang Dan asked with a smile. The medical skills of the newly opened Bugyaku can't reach the level of the two Bugyaku in the capital and Wu Castle. However, Guo Pai can assure you that the doctors in Bugyaku in the world are definitely not quacks. They may specialize in different fields, but they will definitely be able to treat the illness to the best of their ability, Guo Pai said with a smile. Mr. Guo, some netizens asked if the fees of the other medical centers will be the same as those in the capital. Or will the 500 medical centers be opened at the same time and Bugyaku will cooperate with the great doctors and Yuan International to monopolize the entire medical market? Ouyang Dan asked softly. If you have money, you can go to Bugyaku to see a doctor. Bugyaku will charge a certain amount. If you don't have money, you can also go to Bugyaku to see a doctor. Bugyaku won't charge any fees. In addition, don't worry about the medical herbs in Bugyaku. All the medical herbs will be provided by the great doctors. The salaries of the Bugyaku staff will be paid by Yuan International. Again, Bugyaku doesn't lack money. We just want to seek benefits for everyone. We only have one aim, no doctor in the world. Guo Pai said loudly. No doctor in the world. Chapter 571. Guo Pai had once mentioned that there was no doctor in the world when the plague was solved. At that time, countless Huaxia people were touched. However, for the entire Huaxia, it was just an unreachable dream. Today, at this time, Guo Pai faced the camera and said those words again. Suddenly, the Huaxia people in front of the TV felt that if Bugyaku continued to develop at the current speed, it might not be just a dream to have no doctor in the world. This dream was very likely to be realized. Idol, this is my idol. Do you see? Our College of Traditional Chinese Medicine is looked down upon by you. We are not good at basketball, football, literature, We don't worship singers or stars. We only have one idol, and that is the person who makes you unconsciously lower your head. He is a Huaxia Chinese medicine doctor, who made the whole world tremble. In a canteen of a medical school in Huaxia, a student who studied hard but was not recognized stood up and said loudly to the crowd. At this moment, he was proud to be a Chinese medicine doctor. Thank you for your answer, Guopai. Thank you for your magnanimity. Now, I have some questions to ask the lady beside you. Yongdan looked at Sun Ling Ling with a hint of excitement and said with a smile, Sister Ouyang, to be honest, before I graduated from high school, you were always my idol. I really didn't expect to be able to talk to you face to face on such an occasion. Sun Ling Ling said with a smile. Ms. Sun Ling Ling, thank you for saying that. However, I am even more grateful for your great contribution to Huaxia. Yongdan said with a smile. That's right. The Great Doctors Company was established during the outbreak of the plague in Huaxia. If there were no Great Doctors Chinese medicine at that time, Bugyaku alone would not have been able to control the plague. In recent years, the Great Doctors had withdrawn a lot of special drugs from the market. The prices were cheap and the effects were excellent. In particular, some drugs for children had no side effect. Ms. Sun Ling Ling, a netizen wants to ask you. This time, Bugyaku and the Great Doctors will cooperate again. Will they bring more special drugs and benefits to Huaxia? If they produce special drugs, will the price be the same as before? Yongdan asked with a smile. Sister Ouyang, in fact, there are some questions that you can directly answer. Sun Ling Ling said with a smile. When the Great Doctors Company was established, it relied on the resources of Yuanshi International and Bugyaku's prescription. In fact, the Great Doctors and Bugyaku are a family. If Bugyaku wants to promote medicine in Huaxia, the Great Doctors will fully support. There is nothing to say. After Sun Ling Ling finished speaking, Guopao smiled and nodded. Yongdan also smiled. She naturally knew about the relationship between Guopao and Sun Ling Ling. There were some things that couldn't be said too clearly. Yongdan then turned her gaze towards Jia Yuan and his wife. World. Paid. I have the final say in the family, Jia Yuan said with a smile. Lin Yutong smiled and nodded. Then, Jia Yuan slowly stood up. Many people know me. It should be a few years ago when I sold Yuanshi International for cash. In just a few years, I expanded Yuanshi International's business by nearly 100 times. Jia Yuan said with a smile, all of this is related to the owner of Bugyaku, my brother, Guopai. Therefore, I am willing to do something for Bugyaku. I am also proud to be able to do something for Bugyaku. Today, in front of everyone, I, Jia Yuan, promise that no matter how many branches Bugyaku opens in the future, as long as Bugyaku continues to open, Yuanshi International will continue to support it. Yuanshi International will not earn a single cent from the people. This is a promise from me, Jia Yuan. It will also allow my grandfather, Jia Guyun, to proudly say to his comrades that his grandson is like little Jia Yuan. After Jia Yuan finished speaking, he sat back on the sofa. In the courtyard of the Jia family in Wu Castle, Jia Guyun watched Jia Yuan sit down. He was already choking with sobs. A grandson who was the most unruly, who had already drawn a clear line with the Jia family, who could let him die in peace. The interview lasted until 10 o'clock in the evening. Guopai and the other three answered various questions raised by netizens all over Huaxia. Even some Huaxia people who had settled down overseas expressed their opinions on Bugyaku's large-scale medical center through the internet. In the end, Guopai stood up with the microphone in his hand. Friends in front of the TV, I won't delay your rest. As for the last few questions raised by the netizens, I will simply reply. Guopai said softly, no matter where you are, if the local Bugyaku can't solve your problem, You can consult the big network in Bugyaku about how to deal with it. The big network will have specialized personnel to solve your problem. They will provide you with the location of the nearest Bugyaku that can solve your problem. If there is no one around, you can directly come to Bugyaku in the capital, and I will help you solve it. As for the issue of opening medical centers overseas, there are still many Chinese medicine doctors in Bugyaku. However, the opening of medical centers overseas will not be like that of Huaxia. Unless the overseas doctor reaches Huaxia and talks to Chairman Kai, it is better for Bugyaku to take care of the people's livelihood in Huaxia first. Guo Pai said softly, "There is one last point. Bugyaku's principle of treating and saving people remains unchanged. No treatment for the sick, no treatment for the unfilial, no treatment for the liar, no treatment for the disrespectful, no treatment for the unjust, no treatment for the unfriendly, and no treatment for the unwilling. If anyone wants to find trouble in Bugyaku, then don't blame me, Guo Pai, for being rude. Originally, there were some people who had designs on Bugyaku, but when they saw Guo Pai's expression at the end, they gave up this idea in the depths of their hearts. Bugyaku opened tomorrow. Tonight, the strong power of merit shocked the immortal in charge of merit in the heavenly court again. In the early hours of the evening, all the cities and counties in Huaxia received a document requesting the local government agencies to fully cooperate with Bugyaku's opening, which completely solved some of the follow-up problems in Bugyaku. The next day, Bugyaku in Huaxia opened for business. There were still many people in Bugyaku in the capital and Wu Castle, but many people found that there were fewer people in the originally lively Bugyaku. That's right, at this time, Guo Pai was already on the highway to Yushu with his wives, Guo Tongyuan, Dezhu Jiayuan, Wang Sheng, Li Yao, and a group of people. 3 Jinbei cars and 2 big jeeps were originally prepared to fly directly to Qinghai. Later, under the strong request of a group of ladies, they changed to directly drive from the capital to Qinghai. Out of the 33 people, half of them could drive, so Guo Pai also agreed to the ladies' opinions. "Bad Daddy, it's boring to sit in the car. Why don't we go out and fly over first to wait for Mommy and the others?" Guo Pai drove little Meng Meng, Guo Tongyuan, Xianyuan Hao, little Ling Mo, and Yu. Yu sat in the front, and the 4 little fellows sat in the back. Little Meng Meng directly put forward a bold and very feasible idea. "Little girl, stay in the car obediently. When we reach the place, also be obedient. This time, don't run around." Yu turned around and said to little Meng Meng, "Little Mommy, Meng Meng is really bored in the car." Little Meng Meng pouted and said. Little Ling Mo handed the tablet in his hand to little Meng Meng. In fact, he was 100% in favor of little Meng Meng's idea of flying to Yushu. However, looking at Sister Yu's expression, little Ling Mo still chose the right team. It was very important to choose a team. "Little brother Tongyuan, 3rd Prince, if you two have nothing to do, Ling Mo and Meng Meng are both here. You can teach them some cultivation skills," Guo Pai said with a smile. "Bad Daddy, I want to sleep in the car for a while. Uncle Tongyuan doesn't need to teach me." After little Meng Meng finished speaking, a person in the car laughed loudly. Chapter 572. After running on the highway for nearly 30 hours, Guo Pao and the others finally arrived at the borders of Qinghai. Compared to the bustling imperial capital, Qinghai had a completely different scenery. Qinghai Lake, Erlang Sword, Inverted Flow River, and Tar Temple. Since they had already arrived at Qinghai, Guo Pao might as well take the group for a tour around Qinghai. Qinghai is completely different from the Qinghai of the past. Originally, Guo Pai was worried that Great Master Yufeng's body would not be able to withstand the high-altitude climate. However, when Great Master Yufeng returned to Qinghai, his spirit was even better than when he was in the imperial capital. "Great Master, we haven't reached Yushu yet. I'm afraid Yushu has changed even more, Guo Pai said with a smile. Chen Yen, on the other hand, had a trace of nervousness. Guo Pai walked over and patted his shoulder. The little guy revealed 2 rows of big white teeth to Guo Pai. Guo Pai also laughed. Everyone, get in the car. We must reach Yushu before dark tonight, Guo Pai said loudly to the people who got out of the car to rest. Then, the cars started again. Brother Bad Guy, ever since we entered Qinghai, I've been feeling a little uncomfortable. Yu transmitted her voice to Guo Pai. You have the blood of a great shaman in your body. Qinghai, Tibet, these places are already considered holy lands of Buddhism. It's normal for you to feel uncomfortable. Guo Pai transmitted his voice. When I went to Ta-Er Temple today, I could feel that there were 8 Golden Core Realm Buddhist experts in Ta-Er Temple. If we go to Tibet, I don't know how many Buddhist experts there will be. Buddhist sect? If it's really a Buddhist sect, then it's an irresponsible Buddha. Otherwise, how could there be an inspiration king in Tongtian River? Yu joked. Guo Pai did not say anything else. Let's go to Yushu first. At 8 o'clock in the evening, the group arrived at Yushu. Guo Pai chatted with Great Master Yufeng for a while and decided to stay in Yushu County for now and go to Qin Village tomorrow. The 33 people stayed in a hotel in Yushu. Brother Yao, Brother Yuan, please inform the others. Let's have a casual meal at the hotel tonight and have a good rest. We'll go to the Chen family village tomorrow. Guo Pai informed Li Yao and Jia Yuan before he went to the kitchen of the hotel to take a look. Although there were not many dishes, they were still clean. He planned to let everyone have a meal first. After nearly 2 days of traveling, the group was tired. After dinner, Guo Pai arranged a place for everyone to stay. Soon, everyone fell asleep. Bad guy bro, what are you going to do in the middle of the night? Guo Pai, who was meditating on the balcony of the suite, saw that everyone had fallen asleep. He had just opened the window a little when he saw that Yu had already put on her clothes and walked up to him. Yu's wife, you haven't rested yet? Guo Pai said with a smile. Humph, don't talk nonsense with me. What are you going to do? It's been thousands of years. Don't tell me you still have a lover here in Jade Tree? Yu asked with a smile. Leaving a great beauty like Yu and not accompanying me to find a lover? I'm not that stupid. I'm just thinking of going to the Tongtian River for a spin. If not for the great sage's help back then, I would have been eaten up by the inspiration king at the bottom of the Tongtian River. Guo Pai laughed. Then let's go. Let's go for a spin. Yu said with a smile, don't say no. Don't tell me you want to wake up all the little fellas and bring them for a night tour of the Tongtian River? Alright, Yu's wife, I'll bring you to the Tongtian River for a spin today. After saying that, the 2 of them disappeared from the suite. The 2 of them flew above the Tongtian River on their sword. Yu looked at Guo Pai, then the 2 of them landed on the banks of the Tongtian River. Big brother bad guy, you didn't expect the Tongtian River to become like this, did you? If this continues, I'm afraid the Tongtian River will dry up in another 100 years. Yu said softly. Yu is wrong. Guo Pai said softly. After placing the 9 jade cores under their feet, he said the word open. Yu's eyes widened. The Tongtian River hasn't changed at all. I'm afraid this trip to the Chen family village won't be so simple. If I knew this, I wouldn't have brought Xiao Shi and the rest. Guo Pai said softly. Yu looked at the rapid flow of the Tongtian River and could not help but nod. Big brother bad guy, are we still going to take a look at the bottom of the river today? Yu asked softly. Yu could sense that there was definitely something big going on at the bottom of the Tongtian River. Since we're here, let's go down and take a look. If there's anything, we can at least prepare in advance. Guo Pai said, and the 2 of them flew into the Tongtian River. Yu restrain your aura. It doesn't matter if there are people at the bottom of the river or not. Let's try not to alarm them. After Guo Pai finished speaking, the two of them began to quietly walk around the bottom of the Heavenspan River. About an hour later, the two of them had walked nearly 100 li under the river. Other than some ancient creatures, they did not see anyone else. They knew that the two of them had come to a mansion. The Wei Mansion. Guopai and Yuer looked at each other. The Wei Mansion. 1,000 years ago, there was no family with the surname Wei near the Chen family village. There were also no training halls with the surname Wei in the vicinity. How could there be a Wei Mansion here? Big brother bad guy, let's go in and take a look? Yuer whispered. Forget it. Let's go out first. Guopai was just about to pull Yuer away when the door to the Wei Mansion opened and a Taoist walked out. Two friends, may I know what business you have visiting the Tongtian River at night? Since you've come to Wei Xingzi's mansion, why don't you come in for a chat? The Taoist said with a smile. Guopai nodded and pulled Yuer into the Wei Mansion. Heavenly Tao Sex Guopai. Sorry to disturb fellow Taoist Wei's rest so late at night. Guopai smiled. Wei Xingzi shook his head indifferently. A pot of hot tea was served, and the fragrance of the tea spread throughout the guest room. Heavenly Tao Sex Wei Xingzi is ignorant and inexperienced. Little you are so young, but you have such a cultivation. Wei Xingzi is impressed. Wei Xingzi smiled. It's been a while since outsiders have come to the Tongtian River. May I know what business you have here? Guopai smiled. Fellow Taoist Wei, the seniors of the sect left behind some manuscripts. According to legend, when the Golden Cicada Master was traveling to the west, he passed by this place and saved a boy and girl from the Chen family manor. It's said that there is a king of inspiration in the Tongtian River. I wonder if that's true. Haha, little you must be joking. My Wei Mansion has been in the Tongtian River for 1,000 years, but I've never heard of a king of inspiration. Wei Xingzi laughed. In that case, we won't disturb fellow Taoist Wei's rest. We'll go back first. If there's a chance in the future, we'll come visit again. Guopai pulled Yuer to her feet and prepared to leave the Wei Mansion. Little you are always welcome. Speaking of which, I've been in this mansion for so many years. I'm happy to have someone to talk to. Wei Xingzi smiled and sent Guopai and Yuer out. Fellow Taoist Wei, there's no need to send us off. Please go back. We'll be going. Guopai and Yuer disappeared into the Tongtian River and returned to the shore. Wife Yuer, don't say anything. Let's go back to the hotel first. Guopai sent a voice transmission to the confused Yuer. The two of them flew back to the hotel on their swords. In the Wei Mansion of the Tongtian River, Wei Xingzi was kneeling on the ground. An old man in black robes whose face couldn't be seen sat in his seat. Wei Xingzi's entire body trembled, but he didn't dare show any disrespect. You did a good job today, the old man said. However, those two kids aren't mortals. If you can avoid getting into a conflict with them, try not to. In a moment, tell the others in the Heavenspan River to behave themselves. If any of them cause problems, even if the people outside don't kill them, I won't let them live. Wei Xingzi nodded repeatedly. Big brother bad guy, that Wei Xingzi is strange. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.